Hello everybody, welcome back to Spill the Tea Lou. As you know, my name is Lou. As you might remember, this is Kai from Behind the Dugouts, the Chelsea fan. Yes, we're just going to refer to him as the Chelsea fan going forward, so everybody who didn't see him the first time round will see him this time. Hello to everybody in the chat. Welcome. Please do smash a like on your way into the video. I will be tagging Kai's channel Behind the Dugouts in the description after the video. When I set up on StreamYard, it was not cooperating with me, so I'll do it afterwards. Or if Guess or Flossie has it handy, stick it in the chat there as well. But please do smash a like on the video. I don't have a poll for you today, lads, because as I was just explaining to Kai, I am not at all organised. Well, I am. I tried to be and I failed. I wrote down a list of things we were going to talk about because I was like, start of the week, start as I mean to go on, at least pretend to be organised. Wrote a list of things down that we were going to talk about. It was very interesting. It was all very in detail. And then I left it at work. And when I came home, instead of rewriting what I wanted to talk about, I started watching Bridgerton. And then I watched the next episode, and then I started the third episode, and I was like, right, I really need to turn this off so I can turn my stream on. So I have my tabs. I don't have, the other day when Ash was on, I believe I had 12 tabs. Today, it's not quite so bad as 12. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've 9. So we're not so bad. I mean, totally fine. Nathan is reasonably new on the channel and he has already got the hang of things around here. Classic Lou. Absolutely. That's how we roll over here. And Guess she's in there with the link. This is Kai's channel. Don't do it right now, but do go and subscribe to him after the video, once you've enjoyed all of our content for the evening. Welcome back, Kai. Thank you for joining me again.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to getting into what was quite an eventful weekend. We're on cloud 9. We're doing all right.
We're delighted. And, this is great.
Some results went in our favour too, which makes it even better.
Oh, it does. It makes it taste sweeter when your enemies are brought down. But we'll say hello to everybody before we get stuck into the juicy stuff. So Dave Boy, let us know. Dave Boy was here earlier. And Dave Boy, as you know, loves a little wind up. So we'll be on later. Got a nasty bee sting. I heard a few Geordies also had one on Saturday evening. I believe he may be referring to Newcastle, and I believe Mama Flossie is ready for him. As we know, Nathan is also in the house. Flossie's clearly in the house. Guess is here. Everybody's here. Streets is here. He's surfing. Streets is surfing into the week. But yes, Streets is on it. Streets is on the vibe today. But of course, apart from the fact that we were fantastic this weekend, no, he's not even a Newcastle fan. He swapped clubs as well. Dave Boy, I think, was on the oil rigs when you were here the first time. So he hasn't seen your first rendition on the channel. So he's getting the full Behind the Dugouts experience today. But obviously, while we were fantastic, there was some controversy around some of the matches. So we're going to start with the biggest row of the weekend and work our way through. Obviously, later on in the show, we will be doing our predictions, which is why we are live with a guest on Monday evening, because we have midweek games, people. And then after that, Man United have no games for ages because everyone else is in the FA Cup and we're not. So I'll just be watching everyone else's teams for those. But yeah, so we've loads of football close together and then nothing for a while if you're a United fan. And yes, Streets, there will be predictions. So I'm glad you're here. Streets is good at the L predictions. But let's start at the start if I can find it. Yeah, so look, everybody, I'm assuming, saw what happened. The pull and the pull. So hold on, let me get the match up because that'll be our starting point. And then we will go from there. It would help if I put it on the screen because I can see it, but I need you to see it. There it is. You would swear I was prepared. Not at all, but we can pretend. Look, what did you make? Firstly, tell me what you made of the game overall, and then work your way into the the red card, no goal scenario for me.
It wasn't a great game, if I'm being totally honest. Cagey at times. I did think when Szoboszlai scored that worldy of a goal, I thought that was it. That was a game-winning goal. Let's be real.
It was
I'm
serious.
happy that they didn't win, but it was a decent goal. The red card for me, it's a tough one, man, because in essence, it is a denial of a goal scoring opportunity. Even though the ball went in the back of the net, it was going in anyway. No, the goal didn't count regardless. But the initial shirt tug or the pull on Haaland, if he had gone down or whatever, that would be a denial of goal scoring opportunity, red card. He carried on. Then there was a little bit of him pulling the shirt. So you can argue, well, he's committed the same sort of foul anyway. However, there is a foul prior to that. And he is the last man. So for the rules of the game, I understand it. Was it necessary? No, I don't think so. I think he should. Is it 3-match ban or is it just a 1 match?
I don't know if he'll get. He might get 1 because it's not violent conduct. I think 3 is violent conduct, but because it's not violent conduct, it might only be 1. I look it up while we're here. So
I'm pretty sure it's not the same as violent conduct. But I mean, he's been probably one of their best, if not their sort of best players this season. I think Szoboszlai is definitely up there with him and Ekatike. But yeah, it's definitely controversial. But you know, there is a foul there on Haaland. I'm still, so is it Nathan? He's put in their 1-match ban. So
yeah, I'm looking at it here. I'll show you what I'm looking at. So Liverpool midfielder Dominic Szoboszlai will be suspended for just 1 match after his red card against Manchester City with the due to a specific rule. Okay, what's the rule though? Tell me, what is the rule?
It's got to be the.
There you go. FA rules that a red card for denying a clear goal scoring opportunity, Jogso, comes with an automatic 1-game suspension. So there we go. It's I kind of thought that, but I just wanted to be sure.
I think Trevor Chalobah for us had a similar situation. He got straight red for a denial, and it was only a 1-match game. So yeah, I do. I think it's harsh, but I do think it is a red card. Yes, because at the end of the day, the rules are the rule, and we have so much problems with the referees and them the rules and how VAR do it and how they interpret it. But for me, the fact that he has tried to pull him down, it's not worked. This temp's still there. It is a red card, as harsh as it sounds, and makes our life a little bit easier. Liverpool without Szoboszlai for at least 1 game.
It's correct. It's factually the correct decision. It's also absolutely insane because the whole idea is that the referee in the first instance was playing advantage. Surely the advantage worked because the goal goes in the net. But obviously I understand then the argument that Szoboszlai could have gotten to the ball if not for the foul by Haaland on him. And then once Haaland commits the foul, it automatically ends the advantage, and therefore you have to go back to the initial foul. Theoretically, I understand it. Factually, I know it's the correct decision. I understand. But it feels wrong. Do you know what I mean? It is factually correct, but it feels wrong. And my thing is, I agree with you. We give out about the regular, fans, football fans in general, give out about the referees on the regular because they're so inconsistent, because they don't apply the rules, or they apply it willy-nilly. Or I saw a comment, I might have it saved here, it's like rule roulette, because sometimes they apply it and sometimes they don't. So it's just frustrating that when they do apply them, it feels like the wrong thing. And I wonder, obviously, the referee in that moment has to go by the letter of the law and go by the rule, and he has done his job correctly. It's not the referee's fault. However, does it highlight that rule potentially needs to be looked at? Because surely, at the end of the day, the initial foul was against City. And it's City that then somehow ended up having a goal stripped off them because their player was fouled in the first instance. The result doesn't make sense, even though the rule was applied.
Yeah, but then I suppose you could say, for instance, there is just take the same two teams, City and Liverpool at the time, and say Haaland tackles Virgil van Dijk, and it's a light tackle, but it's not. They play on advantage, and it's a scramble for the ball, and the next minute it's a dangerous tackle that's committed by a Liverpool player that is a red card. Would you say, oh, you can't, because there was a foul prior to that, you can't give a red card for the dangerous tackle that happened after it?
Well, based on what they did in this match, no, you can't. Because what they're saying
know,
is,
but that's the thing.
Then the play goes back to the original foul.
They're opening a very controversial door, which probably would be best left shut.
Yeah, I agree with you. But based on that, if they apply the rule in your scenario in the same way they've applied the rule in this case, well, no, they can't give a red card. Yeah. It has to go back to the initial foul because the advantage wasn't over. So by rights, no, there will be no red card in this instance because there was no goal in this one, is what that rule would say. So to me, I don't think the referee did anything wrong, but I do think maybe they need to review the rule. Is there a way to, make it less shit? I mean, can they? And
is there a way to just make reffing less shit? I don't know.
Well, that's where I'm going next, because what I was going to say was I'm loath to suggest this, but I mean, can they say, okay, this is the rule, but the referee has like a bit of leeway to use their own prerogative if the application of the rule doesn't make sense? The problem is then it's going to vary from referee to referee, and that's when you get into the arguments of it's subjective, it's not one rule, and it's not consistent. So you go completely the other way. I just think if the rule is applied correctly and the rule doesn't work, then the rule needs to be changed, would be my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations. If you're a City fan, you're happy. If you're a Liverpool fan, you're not. Obviously, us from the outside, we can see if it happened to us, we would be fuming.
To be fair, Pep wasn't happy either. He was like, can you not just leave the goal alone? He was like, leave him on the pitch and just leave us with the goal. He was more than happy to just let it go.
Yeah.
He was happy not to get the red because it doesn't affect him anyway because the match was over.
You're also then asking refs to have common sense, which is that's
where we go wrong. That's where we fall off the cliff. Lumen is saying, and this is an interesting point. So obviously City, thank you very much. City ended up, we have tea people. I'm going to try very hard not to spell it, contrary to what my name says, but it didn't matter. Not that it didn't matter, but it didn't matter so much in the end because at the end of the day, City would have won, City won. So it doesn't actually impact the outcome of the game. It may impact if the league magically is won on goal difference and Arsenal have an almighty drop-off. And it will impact, obviously, Liverpool not having Szoboszlai and they're not playing well at the minute and he's one of their better players. So it does impact them outside the match, but the match itself didn't change. Lumen is a good point, though. What if that was 1-1? What if that was the winning goal? I mean, the rule technically should be applied in the same way, but would it have been? We don't know. And see, that's what the Lumen's saying. Would the goal have stood then? Would they have let the goal stand and not dealt with the controversy of taking the win away from Manchester City and potentially impacting literally the title race by points and not just goal difference? Because they do crumble under pressure sometimes.
It's one of those things we'll never know, I guess.
No, but we can certainly talk about
I would
it.
have thought, I would have thought, I mean, we've seen it many times in scenarios where there's something big on the line. It tends to go the way of the team that is fighting in that competition. So potentially we may have seen something different. There is a good possibility.
Yeah, and that's, whether it's right or wrong, I think it's possible. Although Craig Pawson, it's not that I like to see him coming because I find sometimes he gives us the decisions and sometimes he doesn't. But I mean, that's maybe a good sign because I never feel like he leans one way or the other, to be honest. And I don't feel like he crumbles to the pressure, which is, I think, not common with referees these days. But Nathan has a comment here. By the way, Lou, all of my predictions of the winners were correct. Even the Newcastle game, which I was the only one who said they would lose. They have called me to replace the octopus for the World Cup. Well, what I think you should do, Nathan, is get the lotto numbers in the chat, and we won't tell anyone you told us.
Got one question for you, Nathan. Is it coming home?
Nathan, there's the question. But there has been a really, really, really mixed reaction because obviously, as we're talking about there, it is something that was quite controversial. It's quite emotive, and you can know one thing with your head and feel something else with your heart. And football is an emotional sport, and football fandom is an emotional thing. And we do lead with our heart and our emotions a lot of the time because that's what it is. But so I want to share just some of the more prominent reactions to it. And they do give both sides just because I found them interesting. So if we go first to Gary Neville, and he said this while live on the commentary, and he says, I just don't get this. He's fouled him. That's the foul. That feels so unjust. I know there's rules, but there is the smell of the game. No referee should disallow that goal, but it's going to be disallowed. Talk about a killjoy. Just let the goal be. You have just killed one of the great moments of the season. And you know what? I listened to it. I had the commentary on when I was watching the match, and you could hear Gary Neville going through the emotions with us. And I have to say, I don't like Gary Neville as a pundit. I never really agree with anything he says. And most of the time, I think he's talking nonsense. I don't like listening to him. But I have to say, in that moment, he felt like a football fan, not like a United fan or a Liverpool fan, or he didn't feel like a fan of a club. He just felt like a football fan that was like, this is ridiculous for the game. He was so emotional. Did you hear him?
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on the emotional stuff because I feel it's something in the game that is just getting squashed, especially since VAR's come in, man. I don't know about you, but whenever I see a goal in, I celebrate, but the moment I celebrate, immediately I'm like, oh, is it offside?
You have to wait.
Or is there foul? And it just kind of deflates the whole emotion.
I
And it
kind of
just feels
half celebrate. I celebrate
Yeah.
and then I catch myself and I have to wait. And then the oomph is gone. So you still celebrate, but it's not quite in the same way. And I have
Yeah.
to say, the reason I really liked what you said was, apart from the fact that you had the feeling of just a fan, he was not a pundit in that moment. He was a football fan. And I felt like that. But see when he was like, talk about a killjoy, just let it alone. And I'm like, it's not really his decision, though. He has to check what actually happened and apply the rules. It's not the referee's fault. The referee didn't kill. But I also agree with him in terms of the fact that it would have been one of the great moments. It would have been one of those moments of the season that everybody was talking about. Alice, like, I actually thought the two keepers at certain points had mares, but my goodness me, Allison had a whopper because that wasn't the first mental thing he did. Like for the first doohickey, why is the word escaping me? When he came running out and took the guy out in the box.
Oh yeah. Comes claim it.
Yeah, but he took him out. Who was it he took out? It'll come back to me later on. One of us will remember later.
Go on,
But he literally just took him out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Go back. Like, go back to see the big pole with the net in it? That's where you stay. Like, and then he looked up as if, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just chilling. I'm like, oh, you're mental. You're absolutely mental. So I think he was a major part of like where things went wrong there. Now, I see we have some United fans in the chat that are not fans of Gary Neville. Dave Boy is saying he's an Ineos fan and he loves Sir Rat. To be fair, he does, but that is completely irrelevant to him talking about the City and the Liverpool game. Both can be true. Ray, also not friends, and he's an Arsenal fan. Gary Neville is not a popular man with any football fan base at all, as far as I know. No, he's certainly not with United. He's clearly not with Arsenal. I don't think anyone, bless him, really likes him, but it's his own fault. So Ray Ray says, Neville talks so much rubbish, even when he talks sense, nobody cares. He's also a mank. So being anti-City affects his circles. He's pro-City. Nathan is saying, am I suggesting that a player should celebrate completely before the VAR check? I am suggesting that we shouldn't have celebration police anywhere, on the football pitch or off the football pitch. And if you want to celebrate, or the player wants to celebrate, they should absolutely go ahead and do so, because I'm not judging anybody for being happy when a goal goes in the back of the net. No football police or celebration police over here. Streets is saying, Neville's voice is annoying, let's be honest. It is a bit, to be fair. Dave Boy saying he's not even popular in Valencia. That he is not. There you go. The word you're searching for, he did a Neuer. He did a Neuer. He also did, was it a Sanchez? He did an Emi Martinez, was actually who I thought of. When he first was doing it, I thought of Emi Martinez. He's a bit of a loose cannon. Talented, but a bit of a loose cannon. So that was who I thought about. So we'll go to the next reaction, because that's Gary, which, to be honest, was the one I related to the most. I can understand it, but I just wanted you to pretend for a little minute because it was just so frustrating. Henry Winter goes one further. He was proper raging. So Henry Winter says, football belongs to players and fans, not to soulless, joyless pedants with no feel for the game. It's a senseless decision, an affront to football. Ruling out that third goal is one of the most ridiculous moments of the season. Totally against the spirit of the game. The law is an ass. If it's a foul, play advantage, and or how can it be dog so if there's a goal scored? Can't blame the ref, to be honest. Blame the law and the lawmakers, and the fact that the refs denied the opportunity to apply common sense, living in fear of those who mark their homework. So Henry Winter feels quite strongly on the matter.
I don't think he's very happy. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if you got that from that, but he seems a bit upset.
I wish he'd have told us how he really feels. I'll be honest, every time I read it, it makes me laugh. Because while I understand the sentence, it's just a mad thing for a journalist. Like, it's so strong and wrong.
But then again, you kind of take it with a pinch of salt, because this is, they're paid to get clicks and to get attraction and things like that. So they're going to ride the waves of emotion. And if you notice, everything is about emotion and how the game feels. If referees ref the game on emotion, the game would be all over the place, because they would get angry when a player, swore at them or whatever. We'd be seeing red, yellow cards left, right, and center, because, they're an emotionless. I think they have to have an air of no emotion and do it by the law. Otherwise it would just be chaos.
Well, the exact thing we're asking for is that they remove their emotion and just flatly apply the laws, which is exactly what this man did. It is exactly what everybody has been asking for, is exactly what he did. Okay, so that's why I'm not giving any blame to the referee. But this post has to be my favorite ever post that I have seen on X, ever. Because it's just, you can see, we call it, like, when we used to do silly things when we were out drinking in our early 20s, myself and my friends, and we did something stupid, we'd be like, with a touch of the head loss last night. He had a touch of the head loss, did our Henry Winter, because he just, you can imagine him like angry typing on his keyboard as he's writing.
Clearly didn't get his Snickers that day, didn't he? He's not the same when he hasn't had his Snickers. Poor bless old Henry.
But soulless, joyless pedants. I mean, his job is to be pedantic, to apply the rules. That's literally what they pay him for. So, I mean, it feels a little bit mean. I mean, the referee might not have agreed with that decision. We don't know what his personal feeling was, which is exactly what we wanted. But you see the first comment under there from Mikey, But the letter of the law, Henry, where was your call for common sense and ignoring the laws then? And obviously he's got what's this picture of? Oh, here. So whatever happened here, he wasn't calling for common sense then. I don't know if this incident just familiar.
Is that Rice? Didn't he get a red card for this situation?
I
think he was on a yellow.
Ball, wasn't it? Something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he got a yellow. He was on a yellow and he kicked the ball away, and I think he got another yellow and a red card after.
But didn't it only go about 2 foot or something?
Yeah.
So like he does, after his initial rant, he does say you can't blame the referee, to be honest. So after calling him a soulless, joyless pedant with no feel for the game, and it's a senseless decision, it in fact isn't a senseless decision because you can't blame the referee, it's the lawmakers, which, to be fair, I somewhat agree with. I don't think I expressed it quite so eloquently as Henry, but it really made me laugh. Yeah. It gave me such a giggle.
Obviously, the majority of people are upset and against the red card, as they maybe, like us, understand why it was given, but would like to see a rule change or, with the emotion. Had it been the other way and people weren't upset and it was like, and agreeing with the red card, ref done the right decision, then what would he have come out? I guarantee he would have come out with something completely different, going, this is what we want to see from referees. It's the best refereeing decision we've ever seen in our entire lives. It would have been completely different. Why? Because he's a journo. That's what they do. They go where the emotion is bigger. That's why he's got 85K views on it. Only
4,145K
Street said.
Yeah.
So
if we look here, to be fair, Ray is kind of agreeing with that sort of point of view. Henry Winter is clickbait, plays a lot on the anti-Arsenal narrative. Now, obviously, that's not something I would be privy to because I wouldn't notice an anti-Arsenal narrative because I don't care about the club, if you get what I would notice an anti-United narrative, if you get what I mean. Yeah. But to be fair, he's backing City here and their goal. But he's also backing the fact that Liverpool shouldn't have got a red card. So he might be a bit clickbaity. But do you know what I mean? He's I just think Winnie is saying someone needs to check his blood pressure. Yeah, someone needs to make sure he's okay after that. Nathan is saying the poor guy was hangry. And that's what you're talking about. Streets is saying there. So 145,000 views and only 4,500 likes. That's not a good ratio. Ray. Thank God for Ray, because he is filling us in here. Henry Winter slammed Rice for a lack of discipline for that red, which is obviously why Mikey then has brought up this specific incident. That's mental. If you're giving out about like a lack of discipline for bouncing the ball, and then you're saying that, okay, I can understand why Arsenal fans maybe not like him. But Dave Boy does have a fair point. Everyone thinks there's an anti-media thing about their club. It does always feel like they're against you. It does. But I wouldn't fancy what you said about the Rice thing, because it literally bounced the ball. But James Ducker was ever so slightly more rational about it. And he says, I fully understand the rules are the rules and that the ref and bar have to implement them and rule out City's third goal. But all that drama and chaos at the end is why football is such a fun and great spectacle, and it just feels a shame in the bar age has to be disallowed. I think that is maybe where most people sit.
Yeah.
He said the same thing, but he's just, it sounds a little bit more professional.
Yeah, he said this because, without VAR and stuff, that never happens. The goal stands and we move on with our lives. That's simple. Yeah. We'll probably still have moaned about it. I'm sure Liverpool fans would have moaned or whatever. I doubt City fans would have moaned. But
you always get a bit of that.
Yeah, it does. But it is the day and age of how football is now. There definitely needs to be something changed. Something's got to change. I think VAR, though the premise of it is a great idea, it's just terribly implemented. Or we've just got, which is probably more the case, very incompetent people behind it.
I would suggest it might be option B, number 2. Nathan is saying that James Ducker is a very sophisticated fella. But That was not, believe it or not, the only controversial decision in that match, because there was a shout for a penalty / red card / foul by Guehi on Salah, which Slot was not pleased about and mentioned in his post-match interview, the window for which I have closed. So I'm going to share this quote instead, because it's always good to have a backup plan, especially when you're me and you push buttons you shouldn't. But Lewis Steele here shares Arnie Slot's thoughts because I've lost them. Arnie Slot, angry at the referee, he says, I can live with the fact that the referee follows the rule book as Dominic makes a foul on Haaland. That's a red card. I think the Sunderland manager is really happy he gives a red card. So obviously that's who they play next. If you follow the rule book, you have a shirt pull from Guehi on Salah, who for 8 years is scoring that goal every time. Every single time. And then, this is a comment I was talking about. So De Bright there, just underneath the first comment, says, Slot's right. Rules shouldn't be applied like a roulette wheel. Pick and choose officiating kills the flow and punishes teams unfairly. If every pull isn't treated equally, what's even the point of the rule book?
Can you treat every pull equally, though?
No, but I think this type of pull, where there's a sustained pull, where it does bring the player down, where the player is through on goal. I mean, what happened in our match with Ahmad was pulled back, but the contact started outside of the penalty area. So it was brought back and a free kick was given instead of a penalty, which makes complete sense. Yeah. What I more wonder, and I would want to watch it again to come down heavy on one side or the other. But his point there, it's dogso. It's denial of a goal scoring opportunity. Guehi pulls Salah. Salah is scoring that for 8 years every single time.
I can't remember it, so I'd love to sort of check it out again. But was it the same situation? Was he through on goal? Or
that seems to be what the argument is. Some people are saying yes, he was through and he was definitely going to score. The other side is saying you can't say he was definitely going to score, therefore you can't give it. So I think it's very subjective, and I think that seems to be where the crux of the argument is.
Yeah, because a lot of
what was said in the match was no, it wasn't. He wasn't definitely going to score, and that was why they didn't give it. Arnie Slot is saying he absolutely was definitely going to score. We've seen him score these for 8 years. How can you say he wasn't going to score it? So what Streets is saying here, it would have been soft. Yeah. The thing is, we've seen soft ones given. It might have been soft, but that doesn't necessarily mean it shouldn't have been given, because we have seen soft ones. Nathan doesn't want to know about the fouls. He wants to know about Slot's substitutions. Aren't his substitutions always highly controversial, to be fair? And Ray, is saying with me, that was the debating point, whether he was through or not. The foul by Silva was clearer in the box, but the pull on his shoulder was the debate. So that's essentially what people can't agree on. Nathan is saying, but Salah didn't have the ball right when he was pulled, so the rule of last man having a goal scoring chance doesn't apply. So some people are saying he wasn't definitely through. Some people are saying he was, and then obviously, as Nathan is pointing out, some people are saying, well, the ball wasn't in his control, therefore you can't say it was a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, there's many factors that they look at. In that instance, is another player going, on the way back, tracking, is he going to get there in time? They have to factor all of those things in. Obviously, with the Haaland and Szoboszlai one, it was a bit different. There was only those two players around.
Yeah, so you couldn't really get lost in a kerfuffle there.
No.
I suppose when you see a red given to your player for a pull and it's a dogso, you're kind of going, well, why wasn't it given at the other end? And this is where subjectivity comes in, because even when the rule is clear, there's still
Yeah.
subjectivity. And I think I can understand the frustration because I thought for the most of the first half, really, I thought City looked far the better team. I thought then for about 30 minutes, maybe 25, 30 minutes at the start of the second half, I thought Liverpool were really on the attack. They were really a lot better. And then back to City again. I can see the frustration, and I can see why City fans would be like, it's not the same thing. So I think you're always going to have a bit of that. But seeing as we were talking about it so much from the other side, I did want to share that, that wasn't the only controversial decision. We do have to be fair across the board. But it wasn't even the only non-controversial red card of the weekend, because obviously, Christian Romero, who's been out there doing the good work, has been talking to the masses. He went and got himself a red card by nearly breaking our Casemiro's ankle. But the talk doesn't, in our situation, the talk hasn't really been about the fact of, well, should it have been a red? It seems to be universally agreed that it should have been a red. The problem is more about the fact that Christian Romero has been so incredibly vocal about Spurs not having enough players. It's disgraceful. They've only 11 players to play with. He's the captain. He's already been a little bit erratic off the pitch. And then he goes and gets himself a red card, which suspends him for 4 games, because it's 3 for violent conduct and an extra one because it's his second red card of the season. It seems a little bit like that wasn't a good idea.
No, I think the problem with the Tottenham players is their heads are not in it at the moment. And he is one of those players that is just a complete loose cannon. Absolute loose cannon. He plays on the edge, and more often than not, he's going over the edge. They're not in a good place. And I can imagine, firstly, they're Spurs players, so I get that. You're not going to be happy at all. And they're going through a terrible, terrible time. I have to be honest, they look worse now than they did under Ange. And they were terrible under Ange.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've heard Spurs fans saying that. So you're not a million miles off there. And just as we're talking about Spurs, obviously, Ray, the Arsenal fan, says, I'm not unbiased. So he's very self-aware. I'm not unbiased when it comes to Spurs. What a horrible captain. Spurs are in big trouble. So, I mean, Ray doesn't beat about the bush there. He's doing a bit of who's Henry Winter? Ray is doing a Henry Winter there. He's telling us how he really feels. But in terms of them being in trouble there, is kind of what you're saying and what Ray is saying. They are in trouble. What do you think of them in terms of relegation? Because that's starting to be talked about now. What do you think?
Any Spurs fans in the chat? I still hope it happens.
If Kate and Jimbo aren't here, I think you're safe. I won't tell them if you don't.
Safe. I'll be very interested if they stick with Frank for the entire. I think if they stick with Frank for the entirety of the season, I think there's a very good possibility. It's going to be tight. It's literally probably going to be the last spot. I don't think they're definitely not going to do worse than Wolves. It's never going to happen. I can't. Who's in?
Hold on, I'll scroll. I'll zoom in so you can see a bit more. Is that a bit better? My thing is West Ham. It's 6 points, which is essentially 2 matches. Have they? Do you know what we should check? Have they got to play each other? Spurs.
I know we've got to play Spurs.
Can I just
so
see
I don't
Spurs
think
ones?
their run is going to be too great.
Right, so let's look. Yeah, there's you are. Leeds, Villa, Wolves, Brighton, Forest. If they play Forest, who are under them, but I don't think if they play Liverpool, Crystal Palace, although Crystal Palace have been dreadful, but they won. Was it yesterday they played? The day before? That they're all blended into one. Fulham are unpredictable. I mean, Leeds, I think Leeds will beat them. I think Hughes will beat them. I mean, that is not easy. Who else? They've 2 more down here. Where else did I say? So to play Newcastle, that game is going to be. I can't wait for that game.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
They've got Newcastle next, then they've got Arsenal. And then who they got after that?
And then that's Fulham, Palace, Liverpool, Forest. Sunderland, who are a phenomenon this season.
Yeah.
Brighton's a bit of a wobble. Wolves had a spell and then they dropped. But if they get another spell, you never know. Villa are not easy. Leeds, I think, will smush them. And I think Hughes will smush them. Who else?
Because
at
if
the
you're
top?
looking at even in the next 4 or 5 games, I can't see them picking up any points.
No, well, Newcastle, I think, will beat them. Arsenal will definitely beat them. I think that could be a big score too. And then after that, Fulham, I think, could beat them. Crystal Palace, I just don't. Crystal Palace have been so bad. I know they
it depends
won, but
what Palace team turns up in it.
Liverpool should beat them. Forest,
Yeah,
again,
so
it
if you
depends on the day. I mean, they're not looking good. What's West Ham's running? Because I think really I don't think they'll go down, but I think they'll be probably 17th again. Like West
by the
Ham
looks of their game,
play
though.
off,
So West Ham
that's
got
not
you
good.
next.
Yeah, which isn't good. Oh, and then they've Bournemouth. I heard that. Then they've Bournemouth, Liverpool. They also have Fulham. Oh, Jesus, City, Villa.
Yeah, they don't have a.
They play
They
a
don't
lot
have
of
a
the
nice
same
run.
teams. That is a horrendous run. And who's their last match? Jesus Christ, no, right. West Ham are going down.
I think
That
West
is
Ham are going
look
down.
at that for a run, right? To the playoffs. Bournemouth, Liverpool, Fulham, City, Villa, Wolves and Palace, Everton, Brentford, who are on fire at the minute, Arsenal as well, who are going to smush them, Newcastle and Leeds. That's a terrible run. Jesus Christ, that'll be some last game too. That'll be mental. Yeah, so West Ham's probably going down, which does mean Spurs are probably safe. Because while Spurs' run isn't good, West Ham's is actually marginally worse, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Leeds could overtake them. Leeds are on the same points. They're just goal difference. So if Leeds even get one more point, they'll go above them. They might finish above Forest. But I reckon, they're probably for 16th or 17th.
Yeah, they're definitely.
I
don't see them go any further out of that.
Lovely to see our Anthony. Anthony is also an Arsenal fan, so is going to have much love. And as I say that, he says Spurs to go down. I pray. So Gary is a Spurs fan, but he's a nice Spurs fan, so we're going to be kind to him. We are going down, Lou. I mean, that's not a nice way to feel as a fan, about your club. Gary, I don't think yous will. Not because I think yous are any good, but because I think West Ham's run is so bad, it would be a miracle if they got 6 points more than you out of that. I do think Leeds will overtake yous. Forest, one way or the other. But I just don't think the fixtures West Ham have, I actually think will fall in your favour. Ray is pointing out that Tottenham have 2 points in 5 games, which is really, really bad. That's quite bad.
I want to shed a little tear for him.
I see that, yeah. You're devastated. The same way as I was devastated when Liverpool lost the other day. Anthony is flying the flag here for West Ham. He's saying West Ham are playing well. Nuno has them playing stable football. No, West Ham are playing well, and I actually think they're playing better than their position suggests, 100%. And they've won 3 of their last 5. So they're playing, I actually think they're playing better more recently than they were before. But that is a serious, serious, serious run. Like that's a bad old run for any team. I would worry about that run, let alone West Ham. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's tough. I do feel though for fans like Gary, because like all the Spurs fans I know are quite nice. And obviously we don't have the same rivalry as yous do. So, but they're not doing well. Anthony, always with the sense. Get the likes up, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, share the stream, help Lou out, and get me a membership button. Woo-hoo. Yes, Anthony. Anthony has always got the right message on the tip of his tongue. He is saying West Ham are playing much better than Spurs, which is true. So considering they play a lot of the same opposition, I think the one that stands out as different is West Ham have to play City and Spurs don't. Other than that, they have a lot of the same opposition. So if they've similar opposition and Spurs are playing worse than West Ham, then by rights West Ham should pick up more points, which is very logical. I don't know. Maybe. And I mean, if it happened, you heard it here first because, but I don't know if I see it. I don't know. Maybe. The fact that it's a possibility is insane to be. I think that's actually the real shout out, is the fact that we can genuinely have this conversation and it's a real possibility. I probably agree with you. If Frank stays to the end of the season, it's like, if somebody gets gangrene in their foot and you have to amputate it before you lose the leg, that's how I feel. That Frank is gangrene in your foot and you need to amputate.
Yeah, there's been, I mean, I think the most recent game that they've done all right in was probably the City game, but then they always seem to do well against City. It's like their bogey team, but other than that, they've just been dreadful.
Speaking of managers that are slightly under pressure, now not quite as much pressure as Frank, because I think Thomas Frank is the most under pressure manager by a country mile at the minute.
Yeah.
Eddie Howe has been on the tips of some people's tongues, particularly given their very recent form. What I will say straight away, Mama Flossie is in the chat. Mama Flossie is a Newcastle fan. She's made it very clear to me that she is holding out for Eddie Howe, that he saw them through an incredibly dark time, that they owe him a lot, and that he has her backing. However, I think if any other manager had the record that Eddie Howe has this season, we would be talking about him getting sacked. There have been, I wouldn't say outright pressure, I would say there has been some rumbling, basically, is how I would put it. What do you reckon to the Eddie Howe situation? Also, just before you answer me, I'm going to say evening to Jay. And don't you forget, Flossie's watching you, Kai, so be careful.
How do I put this nicely? Look, I think Eddie Howe is a great manager. I think before the Thomas Tuchel appointment, it would probably have been a manager that I would be looking potentially to take the England job. But has he taken Newcastle as far as he can? I was just
there you go. You and Anthony on the same wavelength.
I kind of do. He's obviously been dealt a harsh card this season with the loss of Isak, and I know obviously Newcastle fans generally probably hate him now, which I get, but he was a very, very important part of your squad and just an unbelievable goal scorer. And they've replaced him with Walter and he's done all right, but it's not Isak level. So I get it from that point, but the squad is getting older each season. I don't see them progressing. I actually see them regressing at the moment.
To be fair as well, if reports are to be believed, their squad is not only aging, but they're going everywhere else. Their entire squad is going to play for other teams next season, if you believe. Yeah. Half of them are coming to United. If you read any of the reports, we're getting half. Yeah. I think Liverpool's getting a share. The rest of them are going probably, I think someone's going to Juventus. That might be Tonali. Everybody's leaving. They're all leaving or retiring. Essentially seems to be the narrative at the moment about Newcastle. And while I understand their squad is aging, I don't believe all of their players are just going to leave. I think that it feels like we move in the media from one club to the next. And it feels like because the media like Eddie Howe, instead of talking about Eddie Howe being sacked, they want to talk about Newcastle. But instead of talking about Eddie Howe, they're just saying, well, all their players are going to leave. And I did see one recently that said something along the lines of, well, you don't want, it might have been, Flossie will tell me, Flossie, it's Tonali that's just signed a brand new contract, isn't it? He's only recently signed one. Flossie will tell me, I think it's Tonali. But that it's going to be another Isak situation. Now that he signed this contract, but his agent is talking, so he wants out. So it's automatically going to be another Isak situation. While his agent has said some strange things, and I don't understand why his agent would say anything if he doesn't want to leave. And I don't understand why he would sign the contract. There you go. So Anthony and Flossie. So the contract he signed is till 2029 at 180k a week. So it's not cheap. And yeah, so Flossie's confirming it was Tonali. But so why would you sign that if you want out? Because he literally only just signed it. Yeah. But then why is your agent saying anything if you don't want to leave?
It's a similar situation to what Osimhen did, didn't he? He signed a new deal at Napoli, but then to get out the next season, it's a little bumper in the wages for a little bit. You're never going to get the full story, but I mean, 2029 is not even miles away. It's a 3-year deal, so it's not like he's completely untouchable. If he was on some of the contracts that we've got all our players on, 12 years, then it's a different story. He's not on crazy money. I mean, 180k is probably your standard kind of level. But the problem with, especially the lights, do I say Tonali's up there with some of their best players? Look, he's good for them, but
he's very good. I'll tell you what, they're being due from. There would definitely be due from.
But if you're talking about players like sort of Bruno G and obviously Isak, if he was still there, when you see your best players leaving and you obviously want Champions League football, you want to compete at these you can't compete in these competitions without your best players. And if you're seeing that your best players are leaving to other clubs, immediately that goes, well, why am I here? Why don't I just go on and go to these bigger clubs to go and, win trophies? Football is such a short career. And I'm sure all of these players want to win. And obviously they did win the Carabao Cup. And probably a lot of them are thinking, well, we've won something with Newcastle. Now let's look for a new challenge. We see, but I mean, even the robot Haaland has, when he turned up, I'm not going to be at City forever. I'm going to be here, and then I want to go to Spain, and so I think that Isak has been the catalyst to start people wanting to leave now.
And Isak and Trent as well. Obviously, I know he wasn't at Newcastle, but leaving kind of what would be considered, they're loyal to these clubs. Like Trent was going to be their next captain. They never thought he'd leave. He was one of them. And I think often Newcastle fans, and especially I know Flossie feels like this about some of their team, is like they're one of us, the majority. They're Newcastle through and through. They wouldn't do that. And I think we're maybe seeing a reflection of modern society now in modern football, because we're seeing that the loyalty isn't quite there. There's no such thing as a job for life anymore. It just doesn't exist. That used to be the thing. You got into a good job and it was your job for life. That is non-existent. It doesn't happen. There about maybe 15 years ago, most average, they did like a survey or whatever. The most average thing was that people would go through 3 careers in their lifetime at that point. And that was about 15 years ago. So went from 1 to 3. I can only imagine now it's probably about 10. But I'm going to jump into some of these comments, and then I want to give the other side, because I talked about this the other day and I kind of said, well, look, he should be being questioned. He should be sort of under pressure. Flossie gave another point, and then actually one of the journalists I saw on X kind of give sort of what Flossie was saying. So I just want to give the other side, because I've spoke about one and I want to speak about the other side of it. But Gary actually gave us a prediction, so we'll have to remember this one for later. Newcastle 2-1 tomorrow, and Frank will stay at Spurs until it's too late. That's so sad. That actually makes me so sad. I want to give Gary a hug. Flossie is saying he can't go mid-season. That would be crazy. If he does go, who comes in? And that's the real question. Who do you get in that's going to do better? Because if they're not going to do better, why upset the apple cart mid-season? And I think that's fair, because Frank, I think, needs to go. He needs to go now, mid-season. I don't necessarily think it's at that point with Howe. It might be more of a gradual parting of the ways summer decision if it was to happen. I don't think it's urgent. Let me see. Harold is here. Harold's lovely. Hello, Lou. Just dropped in. I'm not so bothered with the refs anymore. It is what it is. The more we focus on it, the more annoying it gets. So I refrain from it. Harold is very sensible. Let me see. What else have we said? Obviously, we saw Anthony's comment. Ray says, Eddie Howe comes across as a likable guy. Unfortunately, he just might not be good enough tactically or his coaching staff or something, but there's something not the next level. Do you know what I think it might be? And I'm going to go back to the comments again. I'm just going to throw this out to people and then I'm going to come back to the comments. I think Eddie Howe has a touch of the Harry Kanes. And what I mean by that, Harry Kane is an incredibly gifted footballer. He's a fantastic striker. He's one of the best, okay? But nobody gets excited. Nobody goes, oh, Harry Kane. Do you know, when we were linked to Harry Kane at United, I was a bit like, he's not exciting. He's not glamorous. He's very good. But there's just, do you know, that thing is missing. He's a bit...
The X Factor.
Yeah, he doesn't have the X factor. And I actually think that's the thing with Eddie Howe. I actually think he's a very good coach. I think he's really good. I mean, like you, many people were linking him with the England job, so he has to be somewhat good. But I don't think he's glamorous. He's not a Pep. Do you know what I mean? He's not a glam manager. He's not a Jose. He's not a...
The thing, those managers are dying. That Pep will be the last one. When Pep goes, there is no manager like that in the league again.
No, but I think,
it's a new era.
When what Ray says here about Eddie Howe comes across as a likable guy. He's a nice guy. You'd go for a pint with him. You'd have a chat. You'd have a bit of crack with him. You'd go for lunch with him. But he's not, he doesn't, like, you don't look at him and go, top football manager. He doesn't have, like, he's not out there teaching his players how to wash their hands and clap with no gloves. He doesn't have, even though that was used to laugh at Liam Rosenior, those eccentricities make him a little bit different. They make him a little bit mysterious. They give him something other people don't have. Do you know what I mean? I just think Eddie Howe comes across as a normal human being. And I think then, because he comes across as a normal human being, people don't associate him with being a top Premier League manager because he's too normal for that. I think his normalcy is like his undoing. Yeah.
It's also the CV.
Yeah.
The CV plays a bit, you know, when Pep came to City, he won things at Barcelona, Bayern Munich, like he'd won everything. And that is probably the biggest thing. Eddie Howe came from Bournemouth prior to Newcastle, so the CV plays a big part in the X factor, but also plays a big part in players buying into your ideology and things like that. Now he's done really, really well with Newcastle. No one can take that away from him. But I personally think it's coming to the end now that he has taken these players as far as he can. And maybe it's now even just someone with some fresh ideas, something new.
Well, they say that a change is as good as the rest. Sometimes it's not that there's anything wrong; it just needs to be different. So there could be a touch of that. I'm just laughing at the varying comments about Tonali. So Streets is saying Tonali to United. Dave Boy is saying Tonali owes them for the year out gambling. Who would want to take a chance on him? Which is an interesting point. But then we have Flossie saying, after all I've read, if Tonali goes, he will return to Italy, possibly Juventus, which is also a good shout. Then we've Rere. Tonali would get in most teams, maybe not Arsenal's first 11, but I would love him in the squad. I don't think he would go to be a squad player, but I understand the sentiment. Let me see. Flossie is saying they've just so Tonali and his other half have just had a new baby and the partner wants to be near to our parents, which happens a lot of women when they have babies. They want to be near like a support system. Flossie is also concerned that if Tonali leaves, she's going to have to change her profile picture. What are we going to do then? You never know what we might get next. And Flossie's saying, you never know, he might just stay. And that's the thing, he might just stay. It might be just feelers. It might be just sussing things out. What are the options? And then when he looks at the options, he might go, do you know what? I prefer staying at Newcastle. You don't know. You really don't know. Jay is saying Newcastle needs to score more goals. I don't think any Newcastle fan would disagree with that, to be fair. What else? Harold is saying refs are making numerous brilliant decisions, but we never focus on them because we are looking for errors to attack. I don't know if you've heard me talking about this, Kai. I think, see, when there's a match and one team wins and one team loses, obviously, but we focus on the team that lost and everything that went wrong and all the bad bits. And we as humans, literally, our brains are wired that way. That's factual science. Our brains are literally wired that way. So I don't think it's a case that we look for errors to attack. I think that's a bit harsh. But I do think we are more inclined to notice the bad decisions over the good ones. And I always make an effort on this channel, and anybody who watches regularly will know this. If I feel a referee has had a good performance, I will absolutely point that out, because if I criticize people when I see something good, by the same token, I'm going to give them credit, and I think it's important. Harold is apologizing. His comments are off topic because he started obviously at the beginning of the show. Harold, never ever apologize for watching the full show. I'm never going to complain about somebody watching the entire show from the beginning. So I don't care how mistimed your comments are. You belt away, because I jump backwards and forwards anyway. So it'll probably fit in with one of my random jumps.
I suppose one of the factors is when we say that we always look at the negatives more so than the positives, it could also be a subconscious thing in you can't improve on a positive. A positive is a positive, but you can improve on a negative. And though for football, when it's negative, the criticism is not always nice, but it's still criticism on, we talk about, the football was so slow. So how do you improve that? By playing football quicker. So generally, that's how I look at it. Where we are focusing too much on a negative, it's more so to create an environment where we can improve that negative to become a positive. It doesn't sound like that when it's coming from people criticizing, but generally that's how I think about it. But
that's a very positive way to think about a negative. I like it.
I like it. Got to drop a positive in there somewhere.
What else have we got there? Bored Dave Boy. And this is an interesting comment. So he says, if Carrick doesn't get the United job, I think he would do a good job at Spurs. But there are a number of Premier League teams that are interested in Michael Carrick. So let me share this. I wasn't planning on talking about this today, but I will go wherever the chat takes me.
Too bad for Michael Carrick.
Well, look at this. Just in, Crystal Palace, not Crystal Carrick, Crystal Palace, Fulham and Bournemouth are all interested in hiring Michael Carrick as manager if he doesn't land the permanent Man United job this summer. Now, what I will say is this has come in via Team Talk, which is sometimes reliable, sometimes not, but it had come out previously, because I spoke about it on another video, that there are a number of Premier League teams that are interested in Michael Carrick if he doesn't get the permanent job at Manchester United. There's actually some Manchester United fans that think that's a better move. Forget about United. It's a better move for Michael Carrick in terms of career, because obviously the United job, if you mess it up, it's such a mess. Whereas if he does well in the interim and then he continues the progression of his career, kind of like what Company did, you know what I mean? Not jump straight into the City job, go and progress elsewhere and come back in. It's better for him personally, not necessarily that they don't want him as the United manager. But I find it interesting because we've been talking about a shortage of managers in the Premier League. If we sack all these managers, who the hell are we going to get in? There's somebody in front of your face that might be taken. Might be like, there could be a queue of people. He could be interviewing them. The radio's going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If he goes, who would you take? Or if he doesn't get the job, if he doesn't get the job.
I'll be honest, I don't have a strong preference. And it's more so, I don't watch football outside of the Premier League or obviously like the European competitions. So I don't feel like I have a strong knowledge base on any of these managers to have a strong opinion. I'm not necessarily against Carrick getting the job. I wouldn't give it to him. I would interview him along with other candidates. But my thing is, like, I don't feel that I know enough to say, oh, well, I want this guy, I want this guy. I know what attributes I want. And it's essentially what Carrick is showing us. It's what Ollie showed us. Ollie showed us what worked. And then we broke it with player power and Cristiano Ronaldo and a bad board. Ollie didn't mess that up, we did. So my thing is, I want somebody who plays attacking, fast-paced football. I want a manager who can manage without allowing player power to flourish. I want, there are qualities that I want. I don't know who embody those for me, if you get what I mean.
We're running out of managers that do that nowadays.
Yeah. Well, they're all head coaches now, which is part of the problem.
At least to the caliber of what we would expect the manager to be able to do. There's not much. There's not much out there.
No, it's
now.
It's hard. Anthony. This is a good comment from Anthony. How is like Kane? Good. I told you Anthony gives me the best comments. How is like Kane? He's the best England have, the best English manager in Howe, and the best England player in Kane. That's why Eddie has the reputation he has. Bournemouth, since he left, have become a better team. On the other side of that, Flossie is saying Eddie was hung out to dry last season with all the Isaac stuff. I don't think the board supported him enough. And to be fair, he was left to deal with a lot of that in the media, and it really shouldn't have been him answering those questions. So I see that side of it too. Let me see. Jay is encouraging Flossie to change her profile picture to the Man United badge. I'm not sure we'll be able to persuade her of that one. We can try, but I'm not sure. Not unless it has a dartboard as well. Street is saying we better give Carrick the job if he gets Champions League football. Ray is saying, I can't believe Liverpool haven't gone for Alonso yet. I would say watch that space in the summer would be my thinking.
End of the season.
Anthony is saying Arteta does that as a manager. Well, to be honest, I think what Arteta did at the start is actually what Amram was trying to do, because he went in and got rid of Aubameyang, he got rid of the poison, I think Amram did what Arteta did at the start, but I don't think he was the right guy to continue what Arteta then did next at Man United. I think we need somebody else in to do that. So I don't know if I 100% am as enthusiastic about Arteta's skills as Anthony is here, but I do think he has been decent. Do you know what I mean? I if he doesn't win the title this season, I think they have to sack him.
I 100%.
That felt like two very polar opposite points from me. I was just like, he's been okay, sack him.
Arsenal have been in this position before. It was even last season, wasn't it? Where they were, was it last season where they were like 10 points? Yeah, so they've been in this position before, and that's obviously Arsenal fans at the moment are on cloud nine, which fully, they're fully in their right to be. They're doing great. However, you're not over the line yet, and a lot can change in a couple of games. I mean, I can't remember. It was a couple of weeks ago when we had a stream. I still think they are going to bottle it. I still think they're going to bottle it. Yes, I still think so.
Oh, that's so. Actually, hold the phone. All the topics are in the bin now. Really?
Yep, I'd still think so. I was funny. I think I was on. Yes. Yeah.
This
City have proven over the years, and not just the squad, but the manager. And this is the more specific part. The manager has proven that he can put a run together. If they had, look what they did. We talk about Arsenal getting through those really dodgy games where they're not playing well and they're winning 1-0 and they're getting the points and they're doing their ticking on. City have just done exactly the same thing against Liverpool. They should have lost that game in a normal world, but they've managed to find a way to claw it back and keep the charge on. As it gets closer, and if they can maintain this small, because it's not a massive gap. Arsenal had a bigger gap last season, and not last season, the season before, because Liverpool pretty much run away with it last year. But if they keep this gap on, they will start to panic. And I'm telling you, Arsenal fans, I get it. And like I said, you're fully in your right now, because you finished top of the Champions League group, you top of the league, you're in the Carabao Cup final. You should be on cloud nine. Don't think it is a foregone conclusion. When I was on with you a couple of weeks ago and I said, we were asked about Chelsea, where they would finish, and I said 3rd or 4th, and people going, you're not catching Villa. Look what's happened already. They've
United are running up the table.
Exactly.
That's what's happened.
You're now 3 points behind. We're now 4 points behind. Football is a beautiful, beautiful game. We have still got 13 games left to play. It is not over. And I would be Arsenal fans not thinking it is a foregone conclusion.
I have to say now, and now we have some good questions. I see David Speaks Football is in the chat. Dave Boy's in the chat. The guys have some good comments, the United comments. So we'll come back to those, because I want to explore this. I really want to explore this, because I gave in. Probably, I would say maybe it was 3 weeks ago you were on. It could be even maybe 3 game weeks ago. Because I reckon maybe 2 game weeks ago, I kind of went, when there were 9 points, was it 9 points clear, then 7 points?
Yeah.
Maybe it was that. I was like, Jesus Christ. And I just got to the point. So they went to 7 points. City and Villa both lost or dropped points anyway. And I thought, my God, these are going to win. It's done. They're going to. That's a massive gap. And while I understand what you're saying about City and Pep and the runs, I agree with that. I don't think, not only is this not the same team for City, it's not the same Pep. And I am loath to say nice things about Arsenal, because I just don't like them. I don't care about City. I actively dislike Arsenal.
Yeah.
But I don't see any. I just don't see
6
them
points
not winning.
is not a big gap. It's not a big gap at all.
It's 3. It's 3 matches, because you have to win 2 just to draw level, and even then you need another point.
You've got to factor in the mentality side of things. They lose the next game, and City win. That becomes 3 points.
But
Then squeak
City has the mentality. I don't think Pep has the mentality anymore. I think Pep.
You don't, but you've got players in there. The difference is, and this is the biggest thing, like you can't coach or teach players it's not like a feeling, but you have to get over the line, and until you've gotten over the line, there is something that you're missing.
But
now that's not to say Arsenal can't do it, but it's always the first time to get it over, because obviously Arsenal have won the Premier League and stuff before, but with this crop of player, this manager, they haven't gotten over the line yet. City have done it many occasions, sometimes difficult times. Remember the season where they went on like an 18-game win streak. There's still a lot of those players that are within the squad that have gotten over the line. So until Arsenal get over the line and finally take that next step, which we've been saying for the last 3-4 seasons, this is their season, this is their season, this is the season, and they fall short every season. Until they do it, there will always be in the back of their mind, are they going to get caught? So I'm telling you, if they start drawing a game and it gets in touching distance, you'll see a scared Arsenal. I promise you that. That mentality is crazy. We've seen what players are like with confidence.
I agree,
when they lose confidence, they're terrible.
Important. I completely agree about the importance of mentality. Absolutely, 100%. I think there's actually not enough emphasis on the mental fortitude it takes. We talk about the physicality, about the injuries, about the strain on the body, the tiredness, all the competitions. I don't think we actually talk seriously enough about the mental fortitude it takes. So I couldn't agree more in terms of mentality. What I disagree with, I think actually this Arsenal team has a better mentality than this City team. And I think Arteta, this version of Arteta, has a better mentality than this version of Pep. Because as far as I'm concerned, Pep mentally was leaving City at the end of last season. Then we took Amram, we buggered up their timeline, Company wasn't ready to come in. He agreed to stay longer than he meant to. It led to the breakdown of his personal relationship, which is now back on. I don't think mentally that's the same Pep. I don't think that's the Pep that went on that run. I don't think this is the City that went on that run. So while I agree completely about the mentality, I cannot believe I'm sticking up for Arsenal. What have I become? This is ridiculous. I need more tea. But I actually think the Arsenal team and manager have the better mentality than this particular version of City and Pep. Now, I might be totally wrong. You might be back here in a few weeks going, I told you so.
The thing is, it's crazy, is that I think someone commented, I'm pretty sure. So
let's go.
They've got to, well, they definitely got to play them in the Carabao Cup final, didn't they?
Oh, they have a head-to-head in the league as well. Do you know what we'll do?
And a head-to-head in the league. I think that is going to be the decider. I think it's going to get to that game, and whoever wins that game will win the league.
See, I think Arsenal will be so far ahead that won't matter.
You reckon?
Yeah.
When is
I can't believe this. I can't believe myself. I literally can't. I think they don't play till March.
Check your temperature, Lou.
I need to sort myself out. I think I'm sick. Right. Let me see. We'll go read some comments. I'll try and reset my brain, and then we'll go from there. That's managers. Ray. Okay, let's start from here. So Ray, who's obviously an Arsenal fan, we could play City 4 times in 27 days, Carabao Cup final, 2 Champions Leagues, and in the Prem. So that's exactly what we were looking for. 4 times in 27 days. Now that, even though it's not all in the same competition, that can impact mentality. That can impact what's up here. I think, though, like, obviously, City saw it out against Liverpool, but where Liverpool are mentally is nowhere near where either City or Arsenal are. So I don't think, while they're all big teams, I don't think you can compare them. No. But what
still
else?
Got to beat what's in front of you, though. I know definitely a bit of luck in the City game. I don't think it wasn't that they played Liverpool off the park to get the win. Luck is always involved in football in some sense. It is part of it.
Ray agrees with you. I'm more confident than Ray. He says it's definitely not over. It might have been had they lost to Liverpool. So Ray is on your train of thought for the minute. Anthony's saying, as for that 1-1 5FC comment catching Arsenal, their defence sucks, which it does. And Kusanov had the head, he went off. Actually, remind me, we're going to talk about that. At some point, we're going to have to do predictions. We're here an hour and 16 minutes. I hope you didn't make plans because we're not going to go too late because it's Monday. So we'll go through these. We'll finish off this topic. And then I reckon we're going to talk about your team because we haven't even talked about your team yet. And then we'll do predictions. But we'll finish this topic off first because it's this honestly, I wasn't expecting this Pandora's box to open tonight. In years gone by, they being City, could put a run together, but not now. Pep's heart isn't in it. He looks done and will leave in the summer. So Ray's on kind of your wavelength. Anthony's on mine. This is wild. This is crazy. Streets is saying Guehi has been quality though, but as a unit, you're right about the City's defence. Obviously, we know David's in the house. Anthony is saying kind of what I was saying. This version, this crop of 115 FC haven't gotten over the line yet. Some of them have, but not all.
Yeah, not every player has, but there is a chunk that have. In Arsenal, no one's gotten over the Premier League line.
But I think there's a first time to do it though. I think there's always
there was always the first time, but again, until you've done it, there is just that little bit. If they had gotten over the line before, it would make this run easier, and I would say it's probably finished. But the fact that they haven't done it yet, that's where it's
maybe you can get more
for me. It's a bit naive it would be naive to think that it's over now, especially with it being a 6-point gap. I think
6 points is a lot.
13 games.
Yeah, but they need to win 2 that City lose. No, so City need to win 2 that Arsenal lose, and then get a draw as well. So they need 7 points to get past them. Maybe they do, but I don't see it.
What fixtures have Arsenal got coming up.
We'll look at them now in a wee second. We'll have
Yeah.
a check of them. Scared Arsenal. Do you not think that 3 years finishing second has given that current team the mental capacity to go one better, especially with our squad depth now? I do think your squad depth is unbelievable.
Yeah, squad depth is much better.
Dave Boy is saying, if someone gave you a free bet, who would you gamble on? A team that's been the bride or the ones that have been the bridesmaid for the last couple of years? Do you know what this is? Right. And I understand the argument. They've done it. They've experienced it. They know the path. It's more second nature to them because they're more practiced at it. But I also think you can lose motivation. You can lose fight. I think Conor McGregor is a really good example of this. Conor McGregor was the best of the best. He was the top. He was the top of the world in MMA. He was a double champion. The first time ever. He was the top of the top of the top. The best. Unbelievable, right? And then he absolutely fell off a cliff because he had achieved the pinnacle and then he had nothing left to aim for. He had nothing left to motivate him because he'd already done it. He'd done both. So there was nothing left. And I actually think if you look at the other side of it, yes, City have done it so many times, it's not exciting anymore. How do they continue to motivate themselves? How does Pep continue to motivate them when he's not motivated anymore? Because we can see he's not. So I actually think Arsenal have more motivation than City. So I think the fact that City have done it so many times in this case might actually work against them rather than being a positive.
But they also went through last season where they won nothing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but they blamed Rodri for that, so now they need to blame something.
Yeah, but you know
else.
what I mean? It's not like they've been winning season.
Last recent history.
I know in the recent history,
a lot. So I just think Arsenal are more motivated. I think it's actually, this is such a great conversation because it's completely the two opposites. I love this. This is fantastic. Winnie.
I'd love Aston Villa just to come out of nowhere and just absolutely swipe them both.
Oh, that would be sensational. That would be sensational, but I don't think that's going to happen. And Winnie, who is not an Arsenal fan, is saying Arsenal will breeze it. We will only fully know to see how both teams react when doing UCL knockouts too. I do think that'll be interesting because you do have to then kind of more... I think when you're in the early rounds of some competitions, you don't focus as much. But when you're in the latter rounds of the Champions League, you have to concentrate on both sides.
Yeah.
So I do think that's interesting. Board Dave Boy says, the difference is, Lou, City are not on drugs and booze like McGregor. Allegedly. I would just like to say allegedly. And he allegedly punched an old man in a pub. And he allegedly is not able to fight because he's doing things he shouldn't be. Allegedly.
Here's a question for the Arsenal fans while we're looking, because there's a few in there.
Yeah.
If you had a choice, I don't think you're going to win anything this season, but that's just me. If you had a choice to win either the Premier League or the Champions League this season, but you could only have one, which one would it be?
Do you know what we'll do? We can do that as a poll, because what we'll do that as a poll, and we will let that run. While
it'd be interesting to see because though they've got great squad depth, it's not like you're trying to win the Premier League and you're trying to win the Carabao Cup where you could probably field a B/A team and still get away with winning the Carabao Cup. But with the Premier League and the Champions League, you've got to have your top side playing every single game. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. So
the poll is in the chat.
You might have to give up one.
This is good. I love this. The poll's in the chat. So I've just put Prem, Champions League, pick. I personally would go for the Premier League because I think as much as the Champions League is fantastic, the Prem is your bread and butter. That is your bread and butter.
They've never won the Champions League.
That's
the difference. They've won the Prem. They've never ever won. They can never say they're European champions until obviously.
Well, obviously I'm not.
Again, I'm not an Arsenal fan, and obviously we've won the Champions League.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't have to choose. So
well, I'll be doing the surfing. I'll be doing the Cunha. I was doing the Mbumo.
Yeah.
I'll be doing the Cunha.
Exactly.
Right.
But
Lad,
a lot of them
on that. I want to go back to the comments, because then we're going to talk about Chelsea. David Speaks Football. Where is he? He had a question. If Carrick finishes 5th, how do I feel? Compared to Carrick, if he finishes 3rd. Oh, do I feel differently if he finishes 3rd or 5th? Yeah, obviously. I know they're both Champions League, but I mean, yeah, because it's 2 spots higher, which means you've beaten more teams, you've gotten better
definitely
results.
Champions League, because it's down to the coalition.
I think
points.
it was released last week. I think it came out last week that the way we're like 10 points. I think the next country is Germany, and they're like 10 points on the equation behind us. So I think it's more or less guaranteed.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of this question, let's say yes, they're both Champions League. But yes, I would feel differently on 3rd versus 5th. Definitely. Because 3rd is better than 5th. I mean, you have 2 people ahead of you or 4.
Would you feel that he's, I can't even say underachieved because he's not like he's had the whole season, but would that be your level? Like, you'll be disappointed that he's not made 3rd, considering where you were?
No, I think 3rd would be an overachievement. Before the season started, even when we had Amram, I said 5th. I said, I think 5th is the bar. If we got 5th, I'd be happy. If we got under 5th, I'd be disappointed, particularly from this point. I think if he gets 3rd, I think that's an overachievement. I think that's really good. So, yeah, that's probably why I would feel differently. One, I expect. One is above my expectations. Therefore,
question
it's better.
for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Man United are still riding the new manager wave, or do you think this is Carrick, his tactics and things that are doing it? Because he hasn't lost yet, and it's different how a manager reacts after they've lost or even drawn.
I don't think it's a new manager bounce. I think it's an interim manager bounce, because he doesn't have to make the decisions a permanent manager would have to make. He doesn't have to be mean. He doesn't have to decide who to sell. He doesn't have to decide who to bench. He just has to get the best out of them for the rest of this season. That's very different to making decisions.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's even necessarily a bounce, because what he literally did was went back to what these players knew. He went back to what they're good at. He went back to what United is. He went back to what we know. So I don't actually think it's a bounce at all. But even if so, I would say it's more of an interim manager rather than a new manager, because I don't think any new manager would have gotten this. We haven't seen the likes of a new manager bounce since Ollie. And Carrick's has all the traits of Ollie. And for the length of time that lasted, I don't think it was a bounce. I think it was consistently good, and he was undermined by poor decision-making by our board. So I just don't think it's a bounce. For me, I think it's actually, he's changed things that have made it happen. Yeah. And that if the next manager comes in and continued with this, I think the results would stay consistent, more or less. You're always going to lose some. So, but for you, because Rosenior has had quite a similar start to Carrick. He's been doing really well.
Yeah, but he's lost in between that. That's why I'm asking.
Carrick,
yeah, but it's how he then approaches it after that. Because obviously,
and have you been pleased then?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm happy with, I not so much looking in the tactical side and what he's doing with the squad. I can see there's a lot more freedom in the way that we're playing. I still think we're so hot and cold. We're either doing one half great and one half terrible. It's like that pretty much every single game. Case of fact, Napoli, West Ham, even the game against Wolves, it was great first 45 and a terrible, half a terrible second half. We finished it professionally, but we shouldn't have let them have that one goal.
Yeah.
But he has tasted defeat, and it's a horrible taste, and it's the worst possible team to do it to. But a defeat is a defeat, and he's then corrected it with a result, with a win. The players seem happier. The fact that and it's a bit of a dig, and I get it, because I could see it with Palmer, that he looked restricted. He looked contained in a structure that just wasn't suited for him. And I could see the frustration. We saw it last season when we won the Conference League, when he said, I was getting annoyed. It wasn't working. I wanted to change things up and do it my way. And he done it. And he basically put us in the, winning trajectory for that game. And he'd come out after the Wolves game saying, I'm playing with more freedom. He allows me to play with more freedom. I'm much happier. And that's what I want to hear from my players, because like for him, case in point, I could see that something wasn't wasn't working. It wasn't right under Maresca.
Yeah.
Can he sustain it for the rest of the season? I'm not going to say it's a new manager bounce anymore because he's tasted defeat now and he's rectified it with results. So now it's, is he getting the players around him? For the moment, I can say yes, it looks like he is. He's got the players playing for him. The West Ham result showed me that they are willing to fight, because to go from 2-0 down to win 3-2 in the end, and watch was, West Ham dominate us, especially in that first half, completely. So I can see there's an air of he's got the players on side, which I was worried about, considering he's done nothing really
I think it's
as
the
a
aura.
manager.
Remember, I told
Yeah,
you about the aura. You can see it through the screen. So I do. I think
yeah,
it's his aura. But actually, it's quite similar. So Streets here is obviously speaking about Carrick, but it's very similar to
yeah,
what you're saying. Carrick was Ollie's assistant coach. These guys know exactly how to man manage, but
yeah,
it's very related to what you're saying there about Liam Rosenior. He's a good man manager. He's
yeah,
getting the best out of his team. And actually, Bruno Fernandes came out in the week with comments basically saying that Carrick is allowing the players to play in a way they enjoy. So exactly what Cole Palmer is saying, and you can see it on the pitch. You're playing to their strengths. You're letting them do what they're good at. You're bringing the best out of them. I will die on the hill of saying Ollie could have achieved more if we didn't bring Ronaldo back and if player power had been killed. If Ollie hadn't been asked to apologise publicly to his player for criticising him, if the board had backed him, I think we actually could have had what we're having now under Carrick. Under Ollie, I don't think we had to go through Eric Ten Hag and Amram. I think we could have had this already. But I actually see a lot of that. And maybe that's why I've taken to Rosenior, because I can't figure out why I like him. But it's that. He's a good man manager. He sees what the positives are and then he amplifies them instead of just trying to force something.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a part of the game that is tactical. Like you can't have your team just play on a whim and allow players to just do everything they want, because it can't work. It will win you some games, it will probably lose you more. But it's having the balance of the tactical side, but also allowing, especially for you, like Bruno Fernandes, those kind of players, for us, Palmer, that win you games, allow them to be their creative selves. If you shackle that, you are basically nullifying everything that makes that player special, which I said way back. I was on another stream called, with the Blue Lounge, and great Chelsea stream, but I said early on in the season, we played West Ham, I think, early on, and Esteval was at fault for, I think it was Paqueta's goal. He tried to do a nice little turn, which looked great, didn't come off in the middle of the park. They picked it up, banged in the goal. And he came out and said he will learn that he can't do those kind of things and he needs to be smarter. For me, straight away, don't kill that boy's flair. Don't do that. You don't want to do that to a player like that. These players win you games. These players produce moments of magic. And if you shackle them to your tactical vision and kill all their flair, you basically kill in football.
Well, that's the Pep school
and I
of
saw
thought.
that straight away.
It's the Pep school of thought. Take the flair away from the player, make them fit the system.
What happened to Grealish?
And I actually think, absolutely, 100%. Look at Grealish before City. Look at Grealish during City. You can't look at him after City because now he's injured. But I mean, absolutely. Grealish, what made Grealish great was the flair. It was the rogue. It was the bit of a, and Pep drained that from him. He drained it. Even Pep is now turning away from that because he has Haaland. And I just think, I agree with you. We'll basically train that out of him, is the exact last thing I want to hear from any manager. That is football, and I hate it. I hate that. But let's go back to some of these comments. Now, this one's a bit more tongue-in-cheek, but it made me laugh earlier. Dave Boy said, is anyone else scared about Onana coming back to United? I know he's very popular with a lot of other team supporters. I'm sure you would be delighted if we got Onana back. But Dave Boy is worrying about this because Onana has come out in the week and said he can't wait to come back to Manchester United at the end of his loan spell. And he's looking forward to fighting for the first team spot as a goalkeeper. I can think of nothing worse.
The thing is, Onana before United, great goalkeeper. He was good. He was. he was, I wouldn't say he was up there with the best in the world at the time, but he was of a good standard of goalkeeper. He came to United, absolutely terrible, went through a horrible, horrible time. I don't know how he's getting on at the moment. I don't really look in because he's not at United more. I don't care. But he had a terrible time, and yeah, he got shipped out. But there's also that, how much of that was between the player and the manager? How much of that was a problem? How much of Ten Hag and Onana was the problem? And then I don't know if he had much time under Amarin. If not, I think he got a little bit, didn't he, before he went out?
Unfortunately.
So I get it from a United's perspective. You don't want to see that guy ever again. You know, he the only thing he needs to come do is empty whatever stuff he's left in his locker and then make his way to the nearest airport. However,
and I would chaperone him as well, just in case.
Yeah, exactly. You got lemons. You got lemons in at the moment, have you? Lemon in it, or lemons,
lemons.
You've got him in goal. Who's doing good?
What is so hard about the name lemons? Can you say law?
Lemon sounds
lemons. Yeah, but that's not how you spell it. Lemons. Lemons.
Lemon. Oh, I've done it again. Lamans. So you've got Lamans, right? Would you take, who is your number 2 right now?
Bayindir, I think. Is Bayindir right? We need that wee boy VTech back. Actually, if there's United fans, Streets, who's here, Board Dave Boy, somebody might be able to tell me, where is VTech? We had a really good keeper, a young up-and-coming keeper. VTech was his name, okay? Very, very good. I think we might have loaned him out. We had one we sold, and I don't know why. Streets, VTech will be back. Yes, from where? Where is he? I've lost him. I would want VTech back as the second keeper. He was very good. At the minute, I think it has to be Bayindir. There we go. I knew I could rely on Streets. He's currently at Bristol City on loan, which I obviously knew because I researched that. But that's who I want to come back as our second keeper. Dave Boy, VTech will be number 2 next season. Bristol City. See, I can rely on my chat because they know the things I don't know. I know I want VTech back. They know where we get him back from, and then we go and get him. We all just drive into the night and drive him back for next season. At the minute, I think it might be Bayindir. I don't even know. Do we still have Tom Heaton? Tom Heaton might still be there. I mean, at this point, I think I would give Harry Maguire the gloves over taking Onana back because honestly, it's a ridiculous thought.
It's strange what a new manager can do to a player, though. It is. No, you don't want to.
I'm not even.
I've tried to try and get him back in, but it's not working. Sorry, Onana.
Whatsoever. Not
really tried.
A hope. Do you know what it is? Not even if he wished upon a star. Not a chance can he come out. Just honestly, that if you gave me the option, Southgate as manager or Onana back in net, I would take Southgate.
That's your new manager anyway.
Couldn't. Not if we keep Carrick. Beating your new manager.
Southgate's been tipped to take it over. I'm telling you now.
Do you know what? He's been tipped for the last 5 times. He's been looking for a manager and he hasn't been hired once. So something tells me these tips are coming from himself. But let me see, because some of the Arsenal lads did answer us about the Prem versus the Champions League. And we're dipping in and out of that many things. I keep missing. Yeah. So Ray is saying, I would take the Prem any other season, the UCL. Ray also said the Prem because of the 22 years of trauma. Anthony was saying the Premier League. Champions League, I think, is more obtainable. I actually think that's why the Premier League is more coveted, though, because the Champions League, while it's the tip top, does feel more attainable for English clubs. Ray with a very good point. Yeah.
I think because it's a more games, isn't it?
Well, that, and it's more consistent. Do you know what I mean? It's not knockout. Like, you can't get lucky. You have to be good. Ray is saying, if we being Arsenal, lose the Prem from here, the fallout would be unbearable. Ray, don't you forget it. Because genuinely, if you lose the Prem from here, it is going to be 3 months. Nobody's going to talk about transfers. The only thing they're going to talk about is Arteta, sacking Arteta, how bad Arteta is, and that just are still bridesmaids. Honestly, if I was an Arsenal fan and you don't win this Premier League, turn off all social media for 3 months. Just turn it off. It's not even going to be worth it. Genuinely, don't go outside your house. That's what I would do, because genuinely, it's going to be that. The thing is, if you win, you're going to be as bad as that in the other direction.
Yeah.
So it's only fair. Jay is asking, does fifth give us Champions League? Yes, I'm sure I read something that said it's actually officially allocated to the Premier League now because we're so many points ahead of the next best country. I'm reasonably sure. Streets is saying, I don't think this is third for United under Carrick. I don't actually think it's an overachievement considering the fact we're playing once a week with a very good first team, but not a great squad, which is fair. That's fair too. I can understand that. Dave Boy saying the Champions League is a joke. It should just be for champions like it used to be. There's a lot of people with that train of thought, to be fair as well. I like the new format though, to be honest. Flossie is reiterating the point. It would be catastrophic. Love it.
100%.
Such a good word. It's a great word. Let me see. What else? Oh dear. Ray. I live around Chelsea fans. If we fail, dot.
But
That is
it's in the same
ominous.
side. Yeah, it's like we are waiting, we are praying for it to happen. But then the other side is if you win it,
Dave Boy.
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, you're in. If they win, which I
Oh.
obviously think is the likely outcome, yous are for it. But Dave Boy, who is a United fan, in case you haven't guessed by now, says, Streets, think an Arsenal player will win Player of the Year. Set piece or OG goals. So Dave Boy is having none of it. Streets is saying, out of empathy, I want Arsenal to win the league. Because of that pain of missing out again would be deadly. Streets is a United fan, so he's feeling very empathetic here.
But just think of all the joy it would bring of laughter if they didn't. Just think of that. It make the world a happy place. And if Arsenal win it will only make a portion of people happy.
Well, Streets is saying he can't be seeing 115 winning another one, which I suppose is fair.
That's why I need Aston Villa just to come out of nowhere. Just
Gary is saying, and Gary obviously is a Spurs fan, if the Gooners lose the Prem, it will take away our misery.
There you go, see?
So there you go.
He's on the same wavelength.
Right. Let's go. I have a question about your club, actually. Because I saw this and it made me very mad about your club. And since you're the representative here for your club, I want to know what you make of this. Now, let me see. It is your club. Make sure this is the right one. Share this tab. No, I need to show it to you. Now, look at this poor wee boy crying, right?
I hated this.
It's very sad. So you're about to answer for this whether you liked it or not. Aaron Anselmino is 20 years old. And obviously this was during the bloody transfer window. So this was posted on the 31st of January. 5 days ago, from the 31st of January, he was seen crying because he had to leave Borussia Dortmund after being called back from his loan by Chelsea. Today, it is reported, so 5 days later, that the Premier League club might not use him and they plan to send him back out on loan, this time to Strasbourg, instead of leaving the poor wee chap where he was. Look at him, breaking his heart, and that was from Fabrice Hawkins. Explain yourself and your club, because that's a disgrace.
Yeah, I feel like we need to be timed out for this. Look,
I feel like I'm going to take it. Timed out for this.
I'm going to take it from two different perspectives, right? So I'm going to go from the fan perspective. I absolutely hate this. I hate this. This is, and it's not just the fact that he's a young kid. This is a young kid that we've brought from another country to England, sent on loan somewhere else, brought him back to England, sent him on loan to Germany, brought him back to England to now ship him out to France. He was used completely as a chess piece for another move. That was all it was for. It was nothing to do about his development, because he was doing all right at Dortmund. He had a bit of injury, but they loved him over there. He was having a good time.
He clearly loved them.
he clearly loved them. Now, there was a slight thing coming out that Dortmund were going behind Chelsea's back and talking to the player's agent and trying to do the deal there. But that is a different matter. The way that they have used this young kid, I don't like whatsoever. For me, it's all about playing football and especially young kids. And we've become Young Kid FC. I want to see these players develop and have great careers and whatever they're going to amount to, and not be used as a chess piece. Now, on the other side,
tread carefully,
of the business side, and I hate the business side, and I don't like these people, but for the sake of having two different perspectives to create conversation.
Well, you might as well, because I'm not going to give the other perspective on this one. So you might as well try.
If I take the footballing aspect out of it, he is an asset that they own, that they have purchased. So I can't even say it. They have the right to use their assets the way they want to use their assets. If I take the footballing perspective, and I'm going to say it again, I don't like it. It's not right. I hate that they're doing it. But to create conversation, they own the player. If they want to use the player, and yes, Streets, I see your comment. It sounds wrong. It doesn't just sound wrong. It is wrong.
Because they own his contract. They don't own the human being.
Not the human being, but in terms of the
own
contract.
his contract.
So what he does while he's employed by, because yes, Dortmund will be paying, I don't think they're paying all of the wages, but they would have been paying a portion of the wages. But while he's employed by the club,
are you done now?
I'm trying. It's horrible to say, but I hated this. I hated to see it, and all I hope, I hope that he has a good season and he gets out. If I'm going to be totally, because Anselmino is a player that I would have loved to see given an opportunity. I don't think he's going to get it here. I think he's only just going to be a player that we are going to use to loan, or if we want to buy another player from another club, we'll go, we'll loan you this player, we'll buy this player, so you're not going to be without a centre back. And I feel that is all that he's been brought in for. So for me, as a player, just have a great season, do the best that you can, and get out while you can, because to be treated like that, I don't agree with whatsoever. I hate to see a player sad like that.
It made me so mad when I saw it. And I think, Anthony here, please keep doing it, because the future young players will look at this model and say, no way am I going there, which is correct. And Flossie also had a good point. Funny that it's Strasbourg he's going to. Now, you took Liam Rosenior away from Strasbourg, and the Strasbourg fans were raging because they were being used essentially as a pawn to better Chelsea, and with no view to bettering them. And then they've done this maybe to placate them a little bit. Look, this wee boy is doing fantastic. Here, have him as a token that we care about.
I think he was always on the cards to go to Strasbourg. I think at the end of the season, because we had bought Sarr from them last season, we had loaned him back to him this season. So I think at the end of this season, what would have happened is we would have brought Sarr back. Obviously, we brought him back early, and we would have then sent Anselmino, like we've done now, sent him to loan to Strasbourg. I don't think he would have been given an opportunity to try and break into the first team at the summer, even though it's led to believe that everyone gets an opportunity. I think that's always what was going to happen with this player. I think the fact that they were talking to his agent behind the scenes has probably made it happen quicker. But what we were doing is we were trying to buy another centre-back from, I think it was Rennes, Jeremy Jacket. That didn't work out. They were asking for astronomical money. We knew we needed a centre-back. So the only way to make it work by not leaving Strasbourg in the dust, even though it's not like we've done amazing things for them, is to give them a centre-back while taking their best centre-back and their captain, which is crazy. But it won't be the last. I can tell
It's
you. And I also don't
I
think
think
it's
it's the
just going to
images
be
as well, though, because you can see that
yeah,
he's a human being. Sometimes you see these
yeah,
stories or you hear these stories and they're reported or they're tweeted or they're in written format. But
yeah,
you see this, like you can see, and like as Flossie says, it's messing with his mental health and his career.
yeah,
He's a young man, and it's
yeah.
horrendous.
Well,
Streets,
Streets highlighted it
same there.
there. Like I said,
Yeah.
the amount of I think we got him at 18. The amount of traveling he's had to do in the last 2 years, and it's
Mhm.
not just that. Oh, I'm popping on a plane over here. It's housing. He's probably
Yeah.
staying in hotels because he's not going to get a real place on loan. So he'll be set up in hotels. He's been a kid that's been pulled away from his family and things like that. It
Mm.
was like the Esteval thing. So Esteval had gone through a horrible time of family. I'm not quite sure, but from the sounds of it, someone has passed
Yeah.
away, and people were moaning that he was not going to be available. Not so much to Chelsea fans, I think from outside. Probably some Chelsea fans. I'm not going
Mm.
to say that we're completely off the butt on that, but moaning that he was not going to be available to play football and forgetting that he's an 18-year-old kid.
He's a human
Regardless if
being.
other players have done it in the past, that's
Yeah.
not everybody reacts to different things differently. But
Mhm.
these are still human beings. But how he's been treated in this instant and what it's been done for the last 2 years, for me personally, he doesn't feel like he's been treated like a
No.
human being. He's been treated like an asset that they're going to
100%.
shift.
And Flossie shares my exact sentiment when
Mm,
I saw this. I wonder what his parents think. If that was my son, I'd be raging. I would be, honestly. I don't care who you are,
mm,
how rich you are. I'm telling
yeah,
you now, I'd find my way into them office buildings at
mm,
Chelsea and someone would be answering. Luke Watts here is saying,
yeah.
like livestock. 100% correct. But now that I've dragged the life out of your club, do you want to talk about happy things about your club? Something nice
Oh
about
yeah.
your
Look,
club?
the
Can we
thing
do
is,
that?
at the moment with Chelsea fans, and it's it's two different scenarios, right? We love our football club, like everybody else. We breathe and die for our football club. I love watching my team play. What's going on at the top, I hate. I don't like what's going on at the top. But what I will always do is I will always support my team and support my football club through thick and thin,
Mhm.
whatever it is. I'm still going to support, and I'm happy with what I'm seeing at the moment. I still expect more. I still expect more. I still want to see more. Rosenior's doing well, but he's got a long, long way to go. A long way to go. I'm quite happy. I don't care if the football is pretty, whatever he needs to do, just make sure he gets Champions League football. If we can win a cup, I still think we've got a good chance for the FA Cup. Any cup competitions, I always back us in, more so than the Premier League. But if we can keep it going, then fine. And then next season, we then need to kick on, because I don't want to be going for another season where we're sitting here going, oh, top four's okay. No, I don't want to turn into Arsenal where top four's okay, although they're going for the league now. I want to be aiming for better and striving for
Yeah,
better. And it's what every club should be at the end of the day.
100%. Ray, I missed this earlier. Apologies. Can I ask behind the dugouts to speak a few words on Havertz's last goal, seeing as he forced us to choose between the Prem and the Champions League? That seems fair.
I plead the
That
fifth.
seems
No,
fair.
I'll answer it. I'll answer it. The goal itself was, when it came in the game, it was kind of a nothing goal because the tie was already over at that point. So it wasn't like that goal sunk us.
Mhm.
It didn't, because we still needed to score a few goals to even make it into what I think extra time or penalties anyway. Now the fact that he scored it, look, I don't have. No, I wasn't say I don't have a problem with him scoring. I have a problem with him scoring it because I don't like
Don't
the fact
lie.
that he scored it. I think what annoyed me more was not that he celebrated, because I get it, he had a massive fallout before he left, a massive fallout, and there's lots of love lost between us and Havertz, because we feel, and I still feel, obviously he gave us that Champions League goal against Man City, and I'll always be thankful for him for that. The same with Mason Mount, even though I don't particularly like the way that he left.
Well, he's
But
been injured ever since, so I wouldn't worry about him.
exactly, yeah. So I'm not too fussed.
Be
He's,
all right.
was it 65 million or something like that? But the fact that he's running up to the cameras, pointing to the badge and stuff like that, that annoys me more than the actual goal itself. For me, he underachieved dramatically at Chelsea. I don't particularly think he's achieved or is doing as well as he should do at Arsenal. And I mean, Arsenal fans will tell me I'm wrong, because obviously you see him week in, week out. I'm not particularly watching him unless he's playing against us. Yeah,
Anthony seems
for
happy
Arsenal
with him.
it makes sense. But I still think he had, from the player that I saw at Bayer Leverkusen and what he was doing, he had so much potential. I still don't think he's reached that yet, even at Arsenal. But I understand from Arsenal's perspective, it does make that a little bit sweeter. But in terms of the actual goal going in, I didn't really care that much because the tie was over then.
So Anthony is saying, why wouldn't he do that with all the social media shit Chelsea fans have given him since you sold him? I'm not
saying that. As I said, the fallout afterwards in the way that happened, and the fact that he's gone to a rival as well, makes it worse. But then when he did leave, even myself included, majority of us were happy. Because we didn't think he was good enough to achieve what we wanted to achieve. And even now, if you said, oh, well, he's doing better now, would you take him back? No, I still don't think he's good enough to achieve what I want us to achieve. I don't think some of the players that we have now are good enough. That's, the point. But we were happy, and we were bantering Arsenal. 65 million down the drain? I'm still going to say, you still ain't won nothing yet. You still haven't won the Premier League yet. He still hasn't got you over the line. So it's
saying
still
that as long as it lasts. You're making the most of that, aren't you?
I will rinse it when it goes. But no, I get it from his point. Why wouldn't he do it? He's obviously taken a lot. And these people are, these players are humans. So for the sake of bants, of course, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, I would probably do it if I was in the same situation, But
I have one question for you. Because then we're going to do the predictions, because we're in deep now. We're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
There you go. Ray is saying this is why he cannot fail. He can't fail. He knows it's coming. But speaking of players who maybe come out in social media, who say silly things in press conferences, players who previously played for rivals and then the rival still lives rent-free in their head, can you guess who I might be referring to?
God, there's a number of players.
Alejandro Garnacho saying, well, if United can beat them, surely Chelsea can go and beat them easily about Arsenal. How do you feel about your players saying stuff like that? Because I hate it when my players do it. And it was something that Garnacho was heavily criticised for while he was at United. Do you find it embarrassing? Because I did.
It's embarrassing if you lose, but do I think it's embarrassing? No, not particularly, because I say it.
Than yours.
I know, but I was saying it. Like, I was thinking, if United a bit. Yeah, but that's the thing. And we want to relate to these players as much as possible, even though they are in the stardom, in the light, they're representing our players. But I don't. Again, I find it embarrassing if you lose, of course, but that's anything. When it goes wrong, of course, you're going to be embarrassed about it. Do I hate it? No, I mean, we had this all the time. I mean, even John Terry now, he's not playing football. He rips into the likes of Arsenal and Tottenham and things like that. And I don't say that's embarrassing. I just think it's funny, but then maybe that's just my different opinion on it. I don't have.
No, I just find it curious because obviously he doesn't play for my team anymore. So I actually, when I talked about it in the first instance, I said maybe Chelsea fans enjoy that, because it's a bit of banter. For us, I suppose his behavior was just so bad that the comments were like an add-on. But I just feel like he seems more concerned with proving United wrong than actually doing well at Chelsea.
Yeah,
from the outside looking in.
I don't even think it's just United. I think it's football in general, because it's weird. He is booed at every single stadium that we go to, and United I get. Because it's United, it's where it's come from.
It's bad blood.
I don't get. I mean, we're going to Leeds and they're booing him. I don't get that. Like, what's he done to Leeds? I don't understand.
Actually, nothing, because they weren't even in the Prem. So literally nothing.
So, it's weird. The thing I would say on the social media side. It's okay if you back it up,
Yeah.
right? If you've got the arrogance on the social media and you can back it up on the football pitch, those two have to go hand in hand, right? But what is happening with a lot of our they're talking shit,
Yeah.
but they're playing shit, so
Yeah.
it doesn't work out
You got to
very
walk
well.
the walk after it.
Yeah,
You
you got
really have to walk the walk. But Streets is saying there, that's crazy. Like, he's only 21, 22, and he's
yeah.
getting booed. And as you're saying, from teams like with
Everybody.
United, there's a reason. But like, he's literally done nothing to Leeds. Leeds weren't even in the competition.
It's funny.
But I do think he's the type of character that sometimes brings it on himself.
Yeah.
Anthony is saying mindset of his idol Ronaldo, skill of Lord Bentner, piss poor. So yeah, his quality and his mouth need to match up. And Bordeaux Boy saying he's petulant. Look, you can see there the United fans, it was his attitude.
Yeah,
we don't like it.
I don't
think
think you like him from the looks of it.
Do you know what it is? He was so talented. We all backed him, and then he mucked it up himself. But without further ado, it is time. It is time for the predictor. You have seen this. You know how this works. You know what to do. So, straight off the bat, you're right in there. Chelsea, Leeds. So, what is your score prediction for Chelsea versus Leeds?
3-1.
3-1 Chelsea. Interesting. I think
Calvert-Lewin will score as well.
I would have said what Streets has said. I would have said 2-2 because I think there'll be goals. While I do think yous are doing well, and I think Rosenio's doing well, I just think Leeds are one of those teams. They're just one of them. Like, I feel like that when we play them. Maybe it's because of the rivalry between United and Leeds. I just feel like they're one of those teams.
The only thing that gives me a little bit more confidence going into these games, one of the biggest problems we had with Maresca is he would do quite well against the bigger sides, the top teams, but he would fall short against the teams we're expected to beat. And Leeds is a team that we would be expected to beat. Now, Rosenior has changed that narrative a little bit. We've come against those teams in his 8 games that he's been in charge. A lot of those teams that we are expected to beat. We've not made it easy, don't get me wrong, but we've still beaten them. So going into this one, I'm feeling a bit more confident that we can get over the line against Leeds. Whereas if Maresca was in charge, I would say, because what we have now, and with the player freedom that he is giving them to play, with Maresca, we were so predictable. So predictable. You could picture how that whole 90 minutes of football was going to go. What you don't have now is that predictability.
Yeah.
Because obviously we change our team all the time. That hasn't changed, but he's allowing players to have this freedom. What we are doing is we used to go down the wing all the freaking time. Everything was middle out to the wing, out to the wing. What we're starting to do a lot more now is play direct through the middle into the striker's feet, allow him to hold up. We're playing those cutted passes. Santos has been a revelation coming into the team, who plays those cutting balls, splitting the lines all the time. So it does make things unpredictable. Cole Palmer's hopefully starting to come back and getting over his injury. That 3 goals against Wolves is going to hit his confidence through the roof.
Yeah. We had our Bruno
going into this game
on his Instagram, telling him what a great boy he was.
Hands off.
He's out there recruiting him, so he is.
Yeah. But I do think going into this game, we're less predictable than when we played Leeds the first time. So that's why I feel like we are going to beat them this time.
And straight to saying breaking the lines is so satisfying to witness, and it's true. It's true. Right. So the scores in the chat are: Streets is saying 2-2. Ray is saying 2-0 to Chelsea. Anthony is saying 1-1. Leeds are going to bounce back. Dave Boy is saying Chelsea 4-1. Dave Boy is feeling confident for you guys, and he's United, so he's feeling confident. Jay is saying 2-2. Ray changed it to 2-1. So that's okay. So it seems like there's a draw, Chelsea, a draw, Chelsea, a draw, and I said a draw, and you said Chelsea, which means 4 draws. So you're outnumbered. The draw it is, but you'll be able to come back and say you told us so if we're wrong. Shot.
I'll take it.
Everton, Bournemouth. Oh, and Gary said Leeds win. So you were nearly really outvoted there. But Everton, Bournemouth. Everton have surprised me without Jack Grealish. They actually seem to be getting the results.
Yeah, and they've just taken Tyreek George from us as well. So I have even more investment into Everton because I really would like Tyreek George to do very well.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a 1-1 for me.
Bournemouth are decent. 1-1. That's good. I probably would go along with that, to be honest with you. I would probably go along with that. But Streets is alerting you to the fact that he will be conducting a Chelsea hate watch, just so you know, in case you were wondering. Jay is saying Everton 2-1. Streets is saying 1-1, so he goes along with us. Anthony says 3-2 Everton. KDH. Who's KDH?
Ken Dewsbury Hall.
There you go. Dewsbury Hall back and looking stronger. That can happen sometimes, where players come back and do well.
Yeah.
Ray says 0-0. Dave Boy says the real Scousers 1-0. Gary says 2-2. Oh, Flossie is reporting for walkies duty or the doggos will not be pleased. So thank you for being here, Flossie, and enjoy the walk. I'll catch you after. So what have we got? We've got Everton, draw, Everton, draw, Everton, draw. So we're 3-3, but we both said a draw as well. So that tips it in favour of a draw. We've got 0-0, 1-1, 2-2. So that's a good mix there. So we'll go with 1-1 because there's no real consensus there at all. What that says is this match is unpredictable because we can't come to a consensus, essentially. Spurs, Newcastle. I think this is the game to watch. I think this is going to be a really, really good game. Obviously, when United starts, I'll be watching that. But I think this game, Spurs Newcastle, is going to be really good.
2-0 Newcastle.
Ooh. Even with their away form?
Yeah, they've lost Romero, which though he is a numpty, he is a good player, and at least he is solid. So, and I don't think Spurs attack is particularly very good in any shape or form.
Yeah.
So 2-0
so
Newcastle.
You're going Newcastle. I also think Newcastle, to be fair, but I think I maybe go 2-1. 2-1, I think. Gary, who is a Spurs fan, says 3-1 Newcastle. Gary is not feeling good with Frank in charge. He has no confidence in Spurs, he says. Jay is saying Spurs 3-2. Streets is saying Newcastle 2-1. Dave Boy is saying the Spuds 6-0. I feel like that might be for Flossie and Ash's benefit. Is my camera doing a madness there? Or is it...
it's like having a dance.
Yeah, it's having a way... Hold on a wee second. See if I can just fix...
Oh, it's just me, guys. What have we got?
It's not doing anything. I'm just you just belt away there with the chat for a wee minute. You talk about whatever you like while I try and get myself off the disco. And I'll be back in a wee second.
That's all right. I think it's looking like it's only Ray that has gone with... Oh no, Jay's also gone with the Spurs too. So Jay's going Spurs 3-2. We've got Dave 6-0. Woof. Spurs fans would love that one, Dave. 4-3 Spurs from Ray. 2-1 Newcastle from Streets. Oh, look, the camera's not shaking.
Do you know what I did? I turned it off and back on again. Magical. Every time.
The normal.
Right.
It's, you know what?
What are we looking like?
I think we're looking like more Spurs wins. I'm not going to lie.
Right, well, there's 3 Spurs and 2 Newcastles, but you have to add our 2 Newcastle Ray says he meant 4-3 Newcastle, not 4-3 Spurs. Okay, that brings it back to Newcastle, and we have to vote for Flossie. Flossie would definitely say Newcastle. So I think now that I'm not shaken, there's some bits. 3-1, 2-1. We both said, I said 2-1. Did you say 2-1 as well?
2-0.
2-0. And Ray said 4-3. So I think on the overall, it looks like people think Newcastle's going to win, but Spurs will score. So let's go with that. Now, West Ham, Man United. What do we reckon?
Is that the kickoff time? Is it at 9:15?
It's an hour out. The site, I think, is German.
Yeah, it's
Ash got it. Ash found it. So it's an hour out. So it'd be 8:15, 7:30 and 8:15 then.
West Ham United.
Don't be crazy.
I want to say West Ham win. I really do. I actually think it's going to be a draw.
Do you actually? We're on fire at the
I think
minute. Is that your heart? Because you want to go above us in the table?
No, I don't know. West Ham, like when we played them the other week, they weren't terrible. They obviously turned terrible, but they weren't terrible. Now confidence is flying with Man United at the moment. I feel a slip up is coming, and maybe it's because I'm waiting for it and hoping it's going to happen. I think it's going to be one. No, I think it's going to be 2-2.
Really? Well, I think you're wrong. I think it's going to be 3-1. I think I do genuinely. I think 3-1 United. I think Mbeumo is on fire. And I think Casemiro, he knows he's even at the end of the season. He is determined to make this season count. Bruno's back in his best position. Did you know, since we have had Sene Lammens in goal, we have only lost 2 out of 19 games. That's sensational.
3 out of 20 now.
Nah. We are unreal. Not having it. None of this slander. Jay
I don't think you'll lose. I don't see you losing, but I feel a draw.
I don't think so. Nah. Not this time. Maybe next week. I don't know who we have then. United 3-1, says Jay. Dave Boy says West Ham 2-2, then 4 more wins in a row. I want that geezer with the hair to suffer all summer. Ray says 2-0 West Ham. United Strand won't be cutting his hair. Spurs are going down. Everybody hates the guy with the hair. Streets is saying 3-0 United, and he's doing the surfing. Anthony says 4-1 United. Good man, Anthony. Gary says West Ham 2-1. He does apologise for his recklessness, but he said it. Streets is saying he could see a draw, but he's going 3-0 United anyway. Everyone is saying they could see a draw, but no. Anthony has given us more detail. He says Cunha ×2 and Mbeumo 1 and a Bruno penalty. Woohoo! Streets is saying, oh my goodness, we're about to witness Mbeumo against Disassi. Yeah, 3-0 United. So, what do the scores on the door say?
I forgot Disassi went there.
Do you want to change your vote?
Nah, Disassi masterclass.
So we have 1 draw. 1, 2, 3, 2.
But if you see, I've leaked in a bit of doubt into the United fans. You see some of them. Oh, I could see a draw. See, I've leaked in some doubt.
They have, but they're sticking to their guns, and it's 4 for United versus 3 for a draw and 3 for West Ham, which means I'm sticking with it. Boom. Not enough doubt. Now, Villa, Brighton. This one could be dross, because I think Villa have gone off the boil completely. I think this one could be dross.
I'm tossing between a Brighton win or a draw. I think Villa are going to drop some more points. I'm saying
that could be a draw.
1-1.
Yeah, I think that could be, it's either going to be 1-1, 1-0, 0-0. That one's going to be dross. I think that game's going to be so boring. Ray agrees with us. So Jay says a draw. Ray says 0-0. Streets has some hope. He says 2-1 Villa. We'll wait for the rest of them. The rest of them are typing. Anthony says 1-1. Villa are struggling and on a bad run of form, but so are Brighton and need to win badly. Their fans are starting to get unsettled. That's your wee man. He's only had 1 win in 12 or something. Brighton. I think they've only had 1 win in 12 matches. So yeah, that's true. Brighton are not good. Dave Boy says 1-0 Villa. So you said draw, did you? Or did you say Brighton?
I said 1-1 draw.
And I think draw. Jay says draw. Ray says draw. Anthony says draw. And then we've Streets and Dave Boy with Villa. I think that means a draw. We've all kind of gone low scores. You said 1-1. Ray said 0-0. Jay didn't give numbers. He just said draw. We'll go with 1-1, but I think it could easily be 0-0 as well, or 1-0. I just think that one's going to be dross. Really dross. This one could be interesting. Palace and Burnley. Palace have been brutal, but then they won at the weekend. And then you've Burnley in the relegation zone.
Yeah. 2-1 Palace for me, I think.
2-1 Palace. Okay. This is hard. This is a really hard one because Palace have completely dropped off, but obviously Burnley are woeful. Jay is saying 1-1. Let me see. Oh, Jay is saying 2-1 Palace. So the 1-1 was for the previous match. So Anthony is saying 3-0 Palace. Strand Larson to get up and running. Boom. Streets is saying 2-0 Palace. Jay is saying 2-0 Palace. Jay is saying 2-1 Palace. Ray is saying 2-0 Palace. Anthony is reminding us that Sarr is also back, as well as them having Strand Larson. Dave Boy says a 0-0 board draw. Gary says 3-1 Palace. Spurs are going down. And you said Palace as well. So that's Palace definitely. And so we've got 3-0, 2-0, 2-1, 2-0. And you said 2-0 as well, didn't you?
2-1.
2-1.
But 2-0, I can see a 2-0 happening as well.
Yeah, let's go with that. I'm literally dreadful. I can't remember anything. You say it to me, I lodge it, and then I read the other ones, and I'm like, what was the first one? Dreadful. City, Fulham.
3-1 City.
Yeah, I think that's probably
actually, you know what? I think it could be 3-2. Fulham are weird. They just seem to
turn up randomly.
Something. Yeah.
Was it the reverse fixture of this that was mad score? Who nearly came back on City?
It was Fulham, yeah. I think it ended up 5-4 or something in the end.
Yeah, let me see. Head to heads. Where is it?
5-4.
Yeah, so this was their last match, and it was only in December. 5-4. Yeah. That one was a complete and utter madness. So, yeah, to be fair, 3-2 isn't a crazy shout, to be honest. But let's see, what are people saying? Ray says 4-1 City. Anthony says after the 4-4, Fulham might have a draw in them midweek. So he says 2-2. Jay is saying 2-0 Fulham, he hopes. Dave Boy is saying City 7-1 to make up a bit of the goal difference. Streets, so they're just talking about the 5-4. Streets is saying 2-1 City. So City, draw, Fulham, City. And you said City. I reckon City. I think we go with 3-2. 3-2
seems... They're definitely, Fulham definitely going to score.
Yeah. And they'll feel confident after the last one too. This one, at the bottom of the table, Forest Wolves. I would like to see Wolves get a win because I'm
feeling like a 1-0 Wolves, but...
Well, if Wolves get 3 points, they equal the 11. So I think maybe they do it.
I'm going to go 1-0 Wolves.
I like it.
But I can see
like
this
it.
being a 0-0 as well.
It could, which is exactly what Anthony says. Anthony says a 0-0 Borefest. Jay is saying Wolves 2-0. He's given them the 3 points. They're getting to 11. They're not going to be the worst Premier League team ever. Streets is saying 1-0 Wolves, so Streets is with us. Well, we've got your Wolves, I'm Wolves, Jay's Wolves, Streets is Wolves. Dave Boy probably might not be far wrong. Ray is saying 3-2 Forest, so he's gone completely the other direction. Spurs are going is what we've got on that one. So yeah, it looks like unless we get 10 people in to outvote us, it looks like we're going with Wolves. It looks like low scoring for the most part. So I reckon we go with the 1-0. Who did I miss there? Right. So let's go with this. Sunderland, Liverpool. Now, what happens Liverpool after the match against City? Because Sunderland have been erratic this season.
2-2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see it. Anthony with a great point. Sunderland are still unbeaten at home. They're the only team in the Premier League unbeaten at home this season. So he reckons 2-2. Sunderland,
Right.
Dave Boy says Sunderland 5-0. Street says 2-2. Jay says 2-2. So 2-2 apparently is the score we're going with.
Yeah.
It would seem that is the popular score. I could see it. I could definitely see it. And lastly, Brentford, Arsenal. Brentford have been good this season.
I can see either a 2-2 or a 1-1. I see a draw.
I could see a draw for this, I think Arsenal win the league, but I can see a draw in this match because I don't think they're going to
dropping away.
Well, I don't think they're going to win every match between now and the summer. They are going to drop some points. I think this could be one of those matches.
Yeah.
The consensus in the chat, though, is pretty. So Jay says 3-1 Arsenal. Anthony says 3-1 Arsenal. Dave Boy says 3-1 Brentford. Ray says 3-0 Arsenal. Street says 1-1. Anthony's dreaming about 3-1s. So I reckon.
Well, the consensus is an Arsenal win, but I feel like this has got draw written all over it.
Well, if you think draw and I think draw and Streets thinks draw, there's 3 for Arsenal and 3 for a draw. So we need a tiebreaker.
Someone needs to swoop in.
Someone needs to swoop in. With 8 people. Has Dave Boy? Oh, Dave Boy says Brentford 3-1 and they score all the goals. See, this is normally where we flossy to tie break us. Jay has jumped ship from the Arsenal win and he has moved across to the draw. So
Welcome
that
to the
means
dark side, Jay.
draws outnumber the Arsenal wins. I reckon 2-2 because I think there'll be goals. I think Arsenal will score. I just think they will drop points at some point. I think this just might be one of them matches. Because Brentford are a good side this season. Like, there they are. Like, they're in 7th. They're doing well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they had a very good result against Newcastle.
Yeah. And so they're going to be high on confidence as well. Luke has come in. And Lucas is 3-0 Arsenal. Luke, what are you doing?
It's too late. The numbers have entered.
It's too late. I'm hitting calculate. Let's see, just because we always get them wrong. So let's just see what it would look like. So nothing drastically different, is there?
No, you're probably maybe more movement at the bottom of the table than the top.
Yeah, well, Wolves would get to their 11. West Ham, because obviously they're playing us.
Yeah.
Spurs, is that gap smaller? I can't
Yeah,
tell.
yeah, because they were. I'm pretty sure weren't Forest on 25 points. I think,
Well, if we put Forest to lose, let's see.
or to a draw, wasn't it a draw?
No, we've put
Oh no,
Forest
we
to
turned to
lose.
lose.
So
So
no,
they
the
must have.
gap
Yeah,
is the same, but Spurs aren't getting any further away, essentially. Leeds have
yeah,
overtook Spurs. That's what's happened. Leeds have overtook Spurs.
yeah, because they got the. I think it was put down as a draw, wasn't it?
Yeah. Brighton, their manager has to be under pressure there. He has to be. Palace has
Yeah,
jumped up. They were definitely down here before. Palace must.
yeah.
Did we put Palace to get points?
We put them to win, didn't we? 2-0
Yeah.
against Burnley.
So there we go. Palace has gone up a few. What have we done to Newcastle? Oh no, Newcastle will not be pleased to be below Sunderland if that's correct. Brentford still in 7th. Have Everton gone up? Were they there?
They've gone above Sunderland, no?
Yeah, let me see. Oh, well, we had them to draw, and we had Sunderland. Where's Sunderland?
To draw as well.
Oh,
no, so
okay.
it should have stayed the same then.
Stay the
This is
same
goal
then.
difference.
Maybe goal difference. But either way, there is a little bit of movement, but kind of in the mid to lower pack. Not a drastic amount of movement up. Here, Villa going further adrift. But I mean, I just think that's done and dusted now. It would make us 1 point behind Aston Villa, which that'd be sensational. Let me see. Anthony's feeling confident. Keep dreaming, rivals. 13 games remaining, 11 wins and 2 draws. Draws at Chelsea and 115 FC. We win the rest. So Anthony is feeling confident. Feeling confident. Jay says, that looks about right to me. Well, that's because we're always right, obviously. But listen, lads, thank you very much for joining the show. Please do go and check out Behind the Dugouts. As you can see, Kai's a great chap, full of knowledge. We'll hopefully get him back on the show again. Smash a like if you haven't done so. Tell your friends, get subscribed, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. Have a good one, folks.